6:01 p.m. First order of business. Meeting minutes are going to be tabled until the budget hearing. Evie's sick and we don't have access to them right now. Second order of business is finalizing the 2025 public hearing date to February 11th. I heard back from most everybody. It seems like the 11th is a date that works. So that's what we've done. Jeremy, you've made the necessary arrangements for publishing and all that?
Yep.
Okay. Can you notify just everybody that change has happened? Planning board, because they're gonna be involved that night. Select board, they know, but just everybody, if you could, that'd be great. And the budget committee. Any other final thoughts on that? Okay. New business, recall budgets. So what we'll do is, we'll go through the changes in the operating budget that we need to address, and then we'll handle the warrant article for that department, any warrant articles for that department at the same time, that way we can get them out of here. Unless you wanna hang out, John, you can do that if you want, but
Yeah, maybe.
I won't force you to do it, you can hang out if you want, but.
Alright.
Okay, let me locate it here in the packet.
This highway budget doesn't have the prorated salaries.
So this has got the total,
So,
okay.
it might need to be more than half if you want us to track.
What's the colorful one?
Yeah, I don't, yeah, I like,
Tiny again.
I like starting April 1st and just leave it at a full amount, so then next year you're not trying to figure out what's the
We've
right
got like
number.
a handout like this, right? There you go.
You should have another one.
This one, you got that one, Steve?
Yeah.
We're looking at it.
Okay.
Oh, this is big too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hold their
I
eyes
am thoughtful of some of the parts.
Yeah, well, this one, you gotta zoom in on it.
Yeah.
Alright, so, stands right now, I think the only thing we had you coming back for was the questions about the road agent increase. It hadn't been settled at the time we discussed this, we've met since then, met with the select board, and this is the final proposed number from you and the select board.
Yep.
So it's line number 1, so we'll just deal with that, and then we'll just take out any of the other ones that you might change in the budget, we'll just go directly to those, we'll skip right to them, so.
You might wanna just go through whatever's on this, cause a lot of it's changed.
Okay, you tell us then, you start right with the first one after road agent that's changed, and we'll talk about it.
Overtime,
Okay,
I know I had that at, I think it was like 4,500.
Mm.
And I took into consideration what you had said about, increases. So I jacked that back up, and we're using, Tobin from the water sewer department also as part-time help. So that should cover it for this year and the remainder.
so from 4,500 to 22,000?
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions on that?
I do.
Yes, sir.
Tracking the last, say, 5 years of overtime.
Yeah.
Or so, what has that number been, do you know?
It's been right around 9,500.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, it's been budgeted for 95.
What's it actually been?
This past year was 5750.
$5,750.
That's because Gary missed a couple of the storms due to surgery.
Reason why I ask that, because of the lack of snow we don't get anymore,
Yep.
and it's so sporadic. And tracking 5 years back, wondering what that number has been.
I'm gonna pull that up right now, Al. I have a spreadsheet for that. My computer is,
So why do we,
there's a little mouse in there making this happen.
we go back a couple years right here on
Yeah,
Right, you go back to 22,
It's just preferred
Oh,
here.
okay.
yeah. We've got 10,000.
so why is it, and we only,
7,000.
according to this, through 11/15, we only spent 3677. So why are we thinking it's gonna go up 131%?
Just having that part-timer on there, he makes more than what Mikey made as a part-time seasonal help.
Okay. And so, and you're feeling that when you plug him in, he's either gonna be at overtime or close to it? But it's worthwhile.
Yeah. And then during the other seasons, if we have a project going on, we're working,
You can still pull
we
him
can
over.
still pull them. Or if we get another freak flood, we gotta go out, you know, midnight, 1 o'clock, and go bail out basins and stuff.
So you would also,
It's pretty much weather dependent.
no, I get that. So it's not a double billing between you and the water department, because whatever hours he worked for you would actually lessen the responsibility of the water department. Is that true? Do I understand this correctly?
That's not the way we understood it. The water department didn't understand it that way. In situations where it's planned, yes, but, in other situations where it's just
Right.
him like working the beginning half of the week or whatever, he just continues to work out the rest of his hours at the water department.
Well, no, I know that, but I'm saying, so if he's scheduled Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, just
Yep.
to make the math simple, and John says, come over to the road department for Monday and Tuesday.
If he's available, then yeah,
If
that would
he's,
balance out.
assuming
But
he's
if he-
available,
But if he went on Sunday, that would
Right.
be overtime that the road department would pay him.
They would
And then
pay
he
him,
would
but-
work 40 hours at the,
Right.
at the water
at the
department,
water department, yeah.
right, but,
Which happened this week, because
Right.
the snow's normal
Yes,
on the
exactly.
right,
on
but so, but
Yeah.
my only point was, if, for argument's sake, if he was available for 2 days, 1 week, for the road department, and he wasn't working at the water department, the water department would not be covering his salary, the road department would. That was my point.
That was the understanding, is
Yeah.
that it would be 2 separate pays that he would receive. He's carrying
Right.
2 time cards.
Correct.
And in the scenario where it could be worked out where time exchange could happen, it will, but
Right.
when it can't, it's
Right.
the highway department's the one eating the overtime.
Right, right.
I don't know if that was what you thought was the plan for that. or
That's
not,
what
but-
I got out
No,
of it
yeah,
at that
that's
meeting.
what I understood third hand, so.
Well, that's kind of what I got out of, I don't know if it was the selectmen's meeting or this last meeting,
I think it was the selectmen's
but,
meeting.
yeah.
Um,
It seems
so,
fair.
Just looking back, it's really fair for the water department, to be
Well,
totally honest, so.
That-
You guys are terrible negotiators, but whatever.
Well, I mean, it's about getting the job done, I think.
Yeah, it'll get the job done for sure, and Tobin would be more than happy with it, for sure, so.
So who's laborer 2?
That's Ian, the full-timer.
And he works for you?
Yep.
So that's 3 of you?
Yep.
And
So-
why would you need somebody from the water department?
So if we get, like this last one, instead of all 3 of us out plowing and then one of us has to go back to the barn, hop in the trackless and go to the sidewalk to keep up with them, we can keep that person out in the trackless, opening those up.
Well,
Cause it's a pain to do those sidewalks with the state coming in and throwing snow all back on the sidewalks.
yeah, that's a given for sure.
If we don't keep up with that, then it takes forever to do a sidewalk, unless it's out here in front of the library.
So some of the overtime numbers from previously, the actual in 2017 was 11,500. 2018 says 0, I would discount that. I don't know why my sheet's not moving like it's supposed to, it drives me nuts. We have $2,300 in 2019. We've got $4,000 in 2020. It's getting worse up there, isn't it? 7,500 in 2021. 10,800 in 2022. Is that where we're up to on our sheets?
Yeah.
Okay, and is that a matching number for our, what's on the sheet, yeah, 10,812?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, but in those years, we had,
Snow.
no, it's not that we had snow, we had different compensation arrangements with the employees, the employee. Jimmy's compensation was different, and Ed's was different as well. They got paid, so their overtime number was artificially low. So if Ed got $10,000 on top of his salary, it was for over 50 hours.
so what's the arrangement with you, John?
Salary up to 50 hours.
Okay, so you got the same arrangement. I figured out why my sheet wasn't moving. Does anybody else have any other questions on that one?
Just on the overtime?
Yep.
I got other questions right around this area.
Okay, well, we've skipped over the top line, and, we're grabbing them in order of ones that have changed since we last met. So next one has changed since we last met, John.
Building maintenance and repair,
What's the number?
2,500 now.
Okay, what was it?
It was 8,000.
Okay, so you dropped that down to 2,500, okay?
Yep. Basically, the door locks, patching the siding, we're gonna need new garage door motors soon, fuel pump hoses, we're gonna need paint, tool storage.
Okay. So you're basically putting off any major building maintenance and repair?
For now, yeah, so we can get by for a few more years. Took a good step back and actually looked at what needed to be done first, and what's gonna require a lot more later on.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on that one?
The next one would be clothing allowance.
That's account 239.
Yep.
It's currently at 3,000.
Yep.
What was it?
Right.
Yeah, 500.
Yeah, it was at 500.
What are you buying?
It's basically shirts, t-shirts, long sleeves, sweatshirts, pants, and high visibility jackets for the crew.
Is that where the boots come out of too, or?
No,
Okay,
the boots are gonna come out of safety equipment.
okay.
It's a safety thing.
This is for the three of you?
And the $3,000 is a lot cheaper than going through Syntax for 10,000 a year. And this way the guys can go pick out what clothes they'll actually wear to work.
It'll be fashionable.
Well, not fashionable, but like I wear Carhartt rip tops, and they're lightweight, breathable. They don't rip very easy at all. Carhartt replaces a lifetime warranty.
So is this a one-time thing to get started, or is it gonna be $3,000 every year now?
No, it won't be 3,000 every year. It's gonna drop after this year.
Sounds like it'll go up and down.
As clothes wear out.
Well, but it should, well, except that you're doing it all this year, so
Right.
you're gonna have a
It should
big
be-
year at some point.
It should be
At least-
so much this year, so much next year.
Yeah,
Personnel change, their body style changes.
no, not allowed.
Yeah, they should get
That's
leaner
it.
as they go
Get the
along.
small- fit into
We're
the
getting our
small
money's
for the
worth.
next 3 years.
Better not wash them then.
No, we want you off.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing to do for the crew, not only for us with the safety colors, but it's a lot less stress on the guys wearing out their own clothes.
I can see buying the jackets and stuff that you need, but my company doesn't buy my stuff. I have to go out and buy my own clothing.
True.
My company's like that too.
I know. I mean, I can see the boots and the safety jackets,
No.
but their jeans and their t-shirts, everyday clothing.
It's a little different for the highway department, because you're technically supposed to wear bright colored clothes, because you're out on the roads, and then you wanna have good clothes that are gonna last.
Well, I understand that.
Working in ditches, around hot asphalt, working in the shop, getting covered in grease. If you look at all the surrounding towns, all their clothes are paid for by the town.
Anybody have any more comments on that, or thoughts, or?
You getting the clothing from?
So right now I'm looking at rushordertees.com, and I've been looking at Arborwear, and there's another, one that I'm looking at. I can't remember the name of it.
Okay. Alright, next one.
What was the other one? I had Cold Patch.
What's the account number?
It is 240.
Oh, it's the next one.
Yep.
Okay.
So, over the last few years, it's gone up and down. We haven't bought any Cold Patch since last spring. So, right now we don't have a whole lot of potholes, and a lot of them are gonna be fixed this year with the projects that are gonna go on. But Cold Patch is $150 a ton, which is $40 more a ton than hot mix.
What was the number before, John?
1,000.
And it's down to 500?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody have any thoughts or questions on that?
So how much of that do you go through in the course of a winter, when the plant closes? How much do you go through in a season?
About 3 ton.
Okay. And the plant usually closes, well, depending on the weather,
Depends.
usually around Thanksgiving or shortly thereafter.
Last year was almost Christmas.
Yeah, that's a go-to though. Thanksgiving is the,
Yeah.
that's the standard. Okay, any other questions on that one? What's your next one, John?
Construction materials,
Number 250.
250. That was 5,000. Drop that down to 1,200. And that's for lumber, quickcrete, nails, screws, rivets. The lumber to help out with spreader hangers, the salt and sand bins, the quickcrete for basin covers, patching on sidewalks. And then the nails and screws go with lumber, and then the rivets for anything else that we need in the shop that's steel.
Okay, anybody have any questions on that one? Next.
257, dam fees, maintenance and repairs.
Okay,
We kept that at 15,000.
was that a discussion point
Yep.
when we were here? Okay. You were going back to just see if that number was good, is that where we left that? Remember?
I believe so, or there was a discussion for a warrant article on it,
Yeah, the one.
maybe.
Okay,
But the reason for the increase is, you can see the annual fees are $26.50. And then the remaining would go towards maintenance and repairs, including but not limited to mowing, fixing holes in dams, tree work, beaver trapping, and general maintenance.
Who traps the beavers?
We have a new guy, his name's Nick Niger, he lives up on Monadnock Street.
Right above my house.
Oh,
The guy is,
what does that cost per beaver? Just curious, real quick.
honestly, I couldn't tell you, cause he
Okay.
hasn't sent us a bill.
Alright,
alright,
interesting. Go ahead.
Biggest thing with the dams is that's a state thing.
Right,
and most of our dams aren't in compliance because of the vegetation around them, and then the integrity of them. So the biggest one right now is Village Pond. We need to get that cleared and mowed within a 50-foot radius of the dam, and then we need to fix some holes and start getting a plan together with M&K Commercial Diving to get in there and see what we need to do to get the gate opening.
I
Yeah.
thought,
They'd be much happier doing that than down the lagoons.
I thought a while ago, there was someone that was gonna come in and, what's the name I wanna use?
Army Engineer Battalion.
Yes.
Yes.
What?
Army Engineer
The
Battalion.
Army Corps of Engineers, they'll do it. They won't rebuild the dam, but they would, remove the sediment. They need an access point, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that has to happen on John's end
Mhm.
before they'll come in. And now, if they're busy elsewhere in the world, they super duper priority, they use it as a training thing.
I thought it was years we were waiting for that. There
Well,
like
this
a-
was
We're
like
not waiting for them.
They're waiting for us, for the stuff we
This
have to
was-
do.
This
Okay.
was a couple of years ago that was
Correct.
mentioned.
Yeah, no, we haven't done anything there.
Oh,
But that was like a reserve unit or something, wasn't
It is,
Yeah, correct.
headquartered in Londonderry,
Yeah.
at the airport.
Right.
We have to get our act straightened out before they'll come in.
before they even say yes.
Well, he said, yeah, if you tick all the boxes, we can come over next week.
Are these all the boxes?
No.
Oh. Alright.
What was the price tag?
You had me at get our act straightened out.
Yeah, right there, you know it's not gonna.
Yeah, we got a lot of boxes to check on the state side before they think about coming in.
There was a lot to do with accommodations and stuff where they were all gonna sleep and all that too. I
That was a
remember
smaller part of it. I mean, we could arrange access, they have to have access, they could go through 23 South Street.
Any other questions on the dams, fees, maintenance and repair? Next one, John?
Drums, oil, and grease, $285.
Okay.
So we only spent $700 this year on a 55-gallon drum for oil for the trucks. This coming year, we're gonna end up spending the same, and then another $300 for grease and lubrication for the equipment. And $1,000 seems more
What was it
reasonable.
when you first proposed this?
1,500.
Okay.
Do that to keep track of their water lines, sewer lines, manholes. Do that to keep track of their water lines, sewer lines, manholes, their cleanouts. And that's something that's gonna help the highway department. We keep track of all our basins, our inlets, outlets, culvert pipes. We can keep track of right-of-ways, trees that are in the way. We can keep track of the sidewalk conditions, the pavement conditions.
How so?
It's all geospatial data, so it's on your phone. Like if I were to do, let's say the sidewalks, I can open up the app, there's an app that I can open up, I can hit start, and then I can walk the sidewalk, and it tracks it, and then I hit stop, and it puts, points on a map. And then it all goes onto the computer, and then it comes up on a dashboard. You can see different points on that sidewalk. You click on it, and it gives you the condition of the sidewalk, how wide it is, how deep it is, what it's made out of.
Don't worry about AI.
Is this
Have you
the,
guys used it long-term with the water department?
Justin's been using it for.
Since 2018.
yeah, it's been on board for a while. We got a whole new layer to it, but yeah,
It's beneficial.
oh yeah, it's definitely worth that.
Oh, it's huge. Like
Yeah,
if I
you
go,
can't-
when we do work on like Russell Avenue, Brook Street, I wouldn't have to call the water department to come find something. I can just click right on their map, say, alright, water line's here, and I need to be over here, and there's a sewer line over here, it'll give me the depth of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all about what you input into it, because it has, like like for the water, the sewer department, for instance, it has like the pipe that's in the ground, the depth of the pipe, the condition of the, has notes about the condition of the sewer manhole, and then what the pipe, the type of pipe it is, the rough year that it was installed, and then the end of life of
So
that
you're
particular
not
material.
Going and knocking on somebody's door who's lived here for 50 years to try and see if they remember.
Yeah, exactly.
The old program was after Burt Lang.
Well, that, yeah.
That was the old, that was
When
the
did
old.
this go, oh, that
Sounds
was.
like
So we've evolved.
So this is worth the money then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, the only question I have is it coming out of the right, account? I don't know,
it's a subscription.
yeah, I guess so, where's the
What are
water
you gonna call
department
it,
take it
computer
out?
software?
And stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, was more of a software item, computer and software under 244, but
What does the water department have it classified
I
as?
think it's not in subscriptions, I don't think so. Cause subscriptions has always been like NHMA and, the small stuff that,
Periodicals.
yeah.
But I mean, it's not really, it's not a software that's like installed on the computer, you can, it's all
Right,
integrated through Esri.
But you're
Right, no,
paying-
I
but you're
realize
paying to
that, but
use their
the-
software, so,
Right.
I mean, we're not questioning whether you're gonna do it, it's.
No, I know.
How, where's it gonna get paid out of?
Yep.
Just trying to create some consistency amongst the, accounts.
Like this, yeah.
My biggest thing with, doing the Esri and the RTIS is record retention. 'Cause right now,
Makes sense.
there's no records of anything.
We did that together.
Yep. My record is Gary.
Well, that's, it's people in Troy, which tends to be a problem.
No.
Only when they die.
Well, yes.
Well, what's gonna happen when Gary retires?
I know.
My encyclopedia is gone.
Yeah, that will be an issue.
No, it's not only for record keeping, but it's for future
Mm-hmm.
employees.
Better planning.
Better planning, better asset management, and you can do, workforce through it. So you can create tasks every day, and it'll go to these guys' phones, and they can go right on there and hit start, and then when
Know
they're
what
done,
they're
hit finish, and it'll count for their time.
That's what road files go, what road files? Oh.
I was actually just on there today, on Ezra's website, and I downloaded the solution for streetlight maintenance. So you can go out, take a picture of the streetlight, the pole number, what kind of light it is, and then,
We're not gonna need people anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
Buy bulbs.
Yeah.
And another solution that they have is called Citizen Reporter.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
the citizens can download that solution, and they can go on.
Yeah, I know, that will be a problem though.
Don't let people
Let's
do
start
that.
this.
The step after that is the citizen takes the bulb and cleans up the pole.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alright, so I can put my driveway on that.
alright.
Any other questions on that? We'll
No.
get an idea together on the, line item position on that, but we can circle back to that.
Leave it there for now.
Yep, what's next, John?
Is that, here's a question, is that cost, you know what the actual cost for that is, so you know how much to move between the lines?
It's,
4,200.
Yeah,
4,200.
it's on the other one, over here.
Oh, it's on here, sorry.
Yeah, here, no, wherever Judy's is.
That was gonna be a reduced number next year too, though, right? Like that was included startup costs and things like that, right? What was
Yeah.
the annual after that?
I think it was the same as what the water department is, 20,
It's 20-something.
Yeah.
So that drops down a couple $1,000s or close
Yeah.
to it
Oh,
after
alright.
the first year.
this is
Okay.
just the initial, get it set up,
Alright.
get your solution set and
Okay.
go. The next one's 328, repairs to the cat loader. Drop that from 10,000 to 1,000.
Okay.
Basically, it's just getting back on routine maintenance.
Mhm.
We've already done some lights on it. We can finish phasing out the old ones. We have a little bit of steel for plating the bucket. We're still gonna need more, and we're gonna need a couple bushings. and then the rest is just general maintenance.
Okay, anybody got questions on that? Next one,
Spreader repairs,
what line number is that?
339. Drop that down to 1,000.
What was it?
It was 2,000.
2,000.
Okay,
Um, since the last meeting, we've actually had to replace more stuff, so hopefully this year we don't have to replace as much. but
Did you replace it in 2025 or 2024?
2024. Basically, what we have is the bearings, chains, motors, the straps to hold down the spreaders, wiring, magnets, and lights. And the big thing for this year is going to be bearings and chains.
anybody got any more questions on that one?
No.
Alright, what's next?
Hardware nuts and bolts, 400.
Yep.
Went from 500 to 350.
Okay.
Going through what we have, I called Fastener Mill, and I can get a good deal on what we typically use the most of to refill stock. And it should be right around $350 to refill.
Okay. Next,
Ice control sand, 430. It was 275. Brought that one up to 500. Sand is going to be a little bit better of an abrasive than salt, and it's not going to deteriorate vehicles and the equipment as fast. I think the salt's getting out of control with the price. I mean, we pay $89 a ton right now. But the people I'm using to get the sand from now, I'm getting it for $14 a ton delivered. And 35 ton a year, do pretty good for what we got right now with what we have in reserve.
any questions?
No.
Alright, next one.
431 ice control salt, drop that down to 30,000. As you know, that's kind of a unpredictable thing. You either order too much or too little.
And it lasts, doesn't it? Like you can save it, doesn't go
You
bad.
can- You can, yeah. Just looking at past years, it's been right around $30,000. And this 2024, the updated number was like 17 and change. So I think if we drop it down to 30, we'll still be sitting pretty good. And have enough just in case something happens.
Okay. Anybody any questions on that? Next one?
432 calcium chloride. Bumped that up from 250 to 500. We're gonna start using that on sidewalks, especially out here in front of the library and the church, just because there's more traffic out here than there is on some other ones. The calcium chloride I'm getting is safe to use on concrete. It won't destroy it like the salt does. It's $22 for a 50-pound bag, and we can get a bag and a half to do the whole town.
Wow.
So it's kind of cost effective.
Okay. Any questions? Next?
Labor contracted services went from 12,000 to 15,000. Roadside mowing, contracted culvert jobs, and then recruiting help from the Southwest Planning Commission for asset management help.
Jump in if anybody anybody's got any questions, next one?
Line striping, 552. Went from 1,700 down to 1,600, just going on previous years. It's never been above $1,600.
Good.
And BDM usually keeps their rates right around the same for us, so we don't add or take away anything.
Next,
Office supplies, we dropped from 425 to 350, on 640.
okay,
And that's just your basic pens, pencils, the daily journals, calendars, paper clips, staples, folders, binders, notebooks, highlighters, sticky notes.
Just like school.
Yeah.
Do you order everything like in, Jeremy, you get things in bulk for that? No,
No, not too much of it.
alright, just curious.
I mean, if we have multiple departments eating it at once,
Probably just get just as good a discount just by ordering it with your coupons from Staples.
I never get to use my coupons from Staples,
you
they're
probably
always
don't order as much as
expired.
we do.
Go
You know,
ahead.
when they have cases of paper on sale, sure, go buy 10 cases of paper. A place to store it, and it gets,
I asked about that.
yeah, don't buy 20 boxes of pens, cause the 10 of them are junk by the time you get to them.
Right,
right, they've dried out.
Next,
Line 735, radio repair and calibration, which on here I think it's radio, radar, and electronics.
Yep.
Went from 4,500 down to 500. Thought we were gonna have to replace the radio or buy a new radio for the new truck. We had one kicking around in a brand new box. So basically, it's just the older radios need to be recalibrated.
next,
Safety equipment went from 2,000 to 3,000, that's line 750. Gloves, hard hats, safety vests, safety glasses, traffic cones, chainsaw chaps, ear protection, boots, that kind of stuff. Which is pretty much all OSHA required safety equipment.
So basically, in that line, you put the stuff that is specifically OSHA required.
Pretty much.
any other questions? Next,
Sand and gravel, 760, we went from 8,000 down to 2,500. Gravel for dirt roads, sand for backing up shoulders, sandbags for washouts. We have sand down there that we can use, not just for roads, but for what we need to back up the shoulders. And we're still waiting to get a couple loads of gravel from St. Pierre's. What we have on hand, and with the 2,500, that should be enough to get us through the year this year.
what was it, as your last?
8,000.
8,000.
Any questions? Next,
764, seed fertilizer and loam. Went from 300 to 150. We still have about 100 pounds worth of seed.
Okay.
next,
Signs, 772. We went from 2,500 down to 1,500. We took an inventory of what signs we already have down in the barn and made a list. And we have some signs that we don't have that we're gonna get and put in inventory. That way we can replace some signs this year.
next one,
Snowplow parts and repairs, 780. Went from 5,000 to 4,500. We have a couple cutting edges kicking around that we can use. And then the rest of it is like the plow markers, paint, touch them up, hydraulic lines, chains to lift them up, cable to lift them up, the D-rings that hold the cables to the plow frame itself, plow lights, wiring, pistons and pins. It's all general maintenance items.
Yep. Next.
Sweeping, 800. Went from 1475 to 1300. That's BDM. They treat us well. We haven't changed anything up, so it's been right around $2,000 or $1,200 for the last few years.
Okay. Next one.
Telephone basic rate, 805. Was 225, we kicked it up to 260, just based on the average monthly cost.
I'm showing 225 on my report. Am I right?
Yep. 225, sorry.
Okay. What was it before?
Yeah, 260.
That's good to be-
260.
Am I, telephone basic rate, 805, right?
Yeah, we got 260 on the printout.
Okay. 260 it is? Went from 225 to 260, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, I just had, I
No,
don't think,
you're good.
I think that was the one voice over IP that actually got done. Right?
Let's not talk about
Yeah.
it.
Hang on, next.
Nope, I ban all VoIP discussions for, till next year. Alright.
The next one is 818, training, hiring, and testing. From 1,500 to 3,400. That's UNHT2 continuous education classes, ASHTO, which is another education class from UNH. And then Esri has classes, Road Resource is another one. The average class is $100 per person for 2 people, if you use 17 classes a year.
I have 3,500 on this report. 34 on the report, okay. Any questions, anybody?
This is just the cost for the courses,
Yes.
and then we're paying hourly wages too. Do you do this on off time, or is it paid time?
I do mine on off time.
And is it required? I mean, it seems like a good idea. Is it required for the job?
No, it's not required, but it's a good thing to do because it keeps you up with the state requirements. So if something were to happen, say with ditch material, because at the state, you're not supposed to give away ditch material to residents because of the Japanese knotweed and the contaminants in it. So if something were to happen where we give the ditch material away and we don't have that education, we can get fined for that.
That's not good.
So the real issue is, you don't have to take the class or learn the information,
But you pay for it.
but if you don't, if you make a mistake, you're treated as if you did.
Yeah.
So, it's
You'll
cheaper.
learn it one way or the
Oh,
other.
yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna cost more one way.
Oh, yeah, way more painful.
And some of the other, like, free classes are, through Primex. And when you do that,
That's the insurance company.
yep,
Yeah,
Primex
yeah.
loves it when you do that.
Really, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Next one?
Next one, 840, tree work. From 10,000 down to 5,000. So, we're going through and just identifying the most dangerous trees that are gonna cause problem and the ones that are closest to the roads that are also traffic hazards.
The one hanging over Dirt Street.
That's state
Been there
right
for 5 years.
That's good enough,
Birch
yeah.
Street?
Alright.
corner of Dortmund and Adnock
Yeah,
Street.
it's just hanging.
Oh, yeah.
It'll fall on my car when I. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't do nothing about that. I've called the state.
Oh, I've called the state and complained, so, yeah, no worries.
Guess that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
No.
I'll call him again.
There you
Alright.
go.
We're waiting for it to first.
Alright, next one, John.
Call Eversource.
That's probably a better call.
Yeah.
Let's go to 880, 2016 trackless. Went from 3,100 to 1,200.
Mhm.
For the repairs that we thought we didn't finish last year, they were actually just little tweaks that we had to do. So that knocked the cost down, and then it's just general maintenance, and then like your hydraulic lines, fittings, mower blades, teeth for the boom flail, just all normal stuff. We replaced the tires last year.
Okay. Next.
889 repairs 2012 F350 went from 5,000 down to 2,500. General maintenance, new tires, and that's about it for that one.
I got 2,000 on mine.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
did you-
2,000. Sorry,
It's
Oh,
a decrease,
that's my bad.
decrease from 5 to 2.
The next one, 890 2016 F550 went from 6,000 to 2,500. General maintenance, new tires, and body work on the dump body.
Okay.
Let's see. 891 2024 F550, $1.
What was it? Oh. It was, yeah. Went from 0 to $1, okay.
That's the new truck.
I get it. If it needs anything this year, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Welding supplies didn't change. And then, workshops, be $990. We kept it at 500, just because there's some workshops that we have to go to in person that aren't offered online. A couple of them, one that I wanna get us to this year, it's called Green Snow. Learn how to go through the different types of salt and what works better, what works best for different towns, different, traffic counts. So like the state uses a bigger rock, which breaks down faster because of their traffic count and works a lot better. For our roads, it doesn't work. The stuff-
Because you don't have enough traffic to
Right,
pound it down.
exactly. So the stuff that we use it's a solar salt. So as soon as it hits the snow, the moisture in it releases the agents in it and it works instantly.
That sounds riveting.
It's gonna sound nerdy, but
No, I hear you.
Probably a YouTube video.
I'm sure. Anyway,
Definitely.
okay,
I think Jamie wants to go.
yeah.
Alright, so,
I got a question.
go for it.
Alright, the road agent, laborer one, laborer two.
I was gonna go back, talk to the top and talk about road agent, but yeah, let's,
Okay, well, I'm looking at it and it's gonna be 3/4 of a year at the higher rate, but the amount proposed is the full year.
yeah, and that's, I don't know, I don't know if that was my suggestion or whatever, but it was my preference anyway, to do it that way, because when you go into next year, it seemed to me like a very confusing time to have a number that's lower that's actually not the number for the following year. You know what I mean? So if you set the budget at a 3/4 year, and then you come into the year next year, now you look like you're getting a much bigger raise.
Yeah, it
than
looks
you're
like
not
we're
really-
raising-
Yeah, exactly, when your base is not that, so. Yeah, from a budgeting standpoint, I think the proper way to do it is put the full budget in there, and if it starts on April 1st, well, then you're gonna be under budget on that line item. That would be my opinion. It's a little funky because it's, but the same would be true, let's say the selectmen wanted to give the town administrator a $20,000 raise mid-year.
Don't get your hopes up.
This is hypothetical. They would just do it, and they would get it, he would get it, the line item would go up by $20,000, but you would only pay for the second half of the year. So that line item would be literally under budget. It would actually go over budget, you wouldn't adjust that line item, but coming into the following year, you'd have this new number, so.
Yeah, I can see that. I figured that would be the discussion. I just wanted to make sure we had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we did that with all the other budgets, but I see we did. What's that?
Selectmen's, we prorated it.
Okay.
Consistency.
Well, whatever we do, we ought to do it the same on every budget, so however we wanna do that.
There's a
Oh,
hand
there's
in
a
the back.
question.
I'm back here in my corner,
Yeah.
sorry. So going to, since we're on the review, do we want on line 335, do we wanna make that $1 instead of 0, or?
335.
First
Roller
page.
and trailer.
Yep, that's my bad, I meant to put it all in there.
Okay.
Okay,
What line?
335, equipment, roller, and
First page.
trailer.
Why did I not see it?
It's,
Oh, because it's $1 on the line above.
yeah, it's on
Oh.
the small print.
Oh, geez. Just the total now.
I made this one because I thought it'd be a little easier to
It is,
understand,
well,
it gives an
yes.
explanation of what it is.
I appreciate that. And thank you for going back and relooking at this.
okay, so, line 101, the road agent, so this is, this was one of the main reasons we were coming back here, obviously you sharpened the pencil on the rest of the budget. So we're looking at these are the actual numbers, so it would be a year-over-year increase of 48.08% to 77,000, that's the proposed amount. Am I looking at that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going from 52, which is the 2024 budget, to the 77.
Yeah.
Okay. And 52 was your salary for 2024. Okay, just getting some clarification.
Yep.
The only thoughts that I have on that is, it's a very large increase, so, my question would be, if this was a contracted, planned, like if you have this in writing, this is contracted to the select board, I could see getting behind that entirely. If it's not, then I don't know that it's responsible for the budget committee to make that decision for the rest of the town. It's a big increase. My approach would be to bring it to town meeting and let them decide on it. So the select board's gonna have their budget, right, and it's gonna be off by this amount, and that's gonna be the difference between the two. So there would be a motion on the floor at town meeting where you would make your case to the rest of the people. I feel like 13 people deciding something significant like this, especially where you just said you're just coming to your 2-year anniversary.
Yeah.
And I think when they did the original hire for this, they were looking for, a lower budgeted amount, lesser experience, which is what you came with, that's why we got you at a cheaper amount. So in 2 years, has your experience gone to this number? I don't know, but that's your case to make in front of the townspeople, I would guess. My thoughts on it.
Do you
I'll
know-
leave my thoughts as it is, but.
I disagree with you, Ben.
Yep.
That's the purpose of the budget committee, is to review all this and make the recommendation for the total budget.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
It
is
sounds
I
like we're
could-
passing the buck.
No, I can't I wouldn't recommend a 48% increase unless there was documented like agreement between the highway agent and the select board that in 2 years, we're gonna get you up to this number, we're gonna be shooting for getting you in line with other more seasoned, road agents. That's,
Well, that was the conversation we had with him when we hired him. If you go back to 2023, I went and looked. At that point, Ed was at 56, and that was his base.
Yeah.
And I think you'll find his actual compensation was significantly higher than that. And so, yeah, we were willing to hire John with less experience at a lower rate, with the full expectation that we were either gonna fire him or give him more money.
yeah,
I mean, it was kind of up or out,
Yep.
And the select board felt he's done the job, and so we didn't really pull this number out of our ass. We looked at what other road agents are making in similar sized towns.
Yep.
And that's how we came up with the number, so. I don't,
Yeah, that was just my 2 cents.
I mean,
I have no motion one way or the other, I just,
I would think it would be unfortunate if the budget committee couldn't approve his salary at that level.
Well, the budget committee doesn't approve it, recommend it.
Recommend it, that's what I meant, Alan, yeah.
any other thoughts or comments? Okay. Steve, you had something more you wanted to discuss about the labor 1s and 2s on this?
No, just what I said before, that we've got a full year rate for 3/4.
Okay, nothing more than that?
No,
Okay.
that's like close to $10,000 difference between the 3 lines.
I have a question.
Yeah, and it's a bit, just one thought about that, it happens to be a bigger number this year, I think normally if it's a, a regular 4 or 5% increase across the board, it's gonna be immaterial in general, but yeah, it's definitely a bigger number this year for sure.
I can definitely see, we get to this next year, we go, well, how come, he's not gonna raise this year, but how come we gotta go up, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just.
Yep.
If we don't recommend this budget for his pay and stuff, do the townspeople end up voting on this?
So if we put forward a budget that doesn't include this increase, or an adjustment to this that we think is more reasonable or whatever we're recommending, that's what they would be voting on. It would be on John, and that's what I would recommend, is that John makes a motion at town meeting to, vote on the selectmen's budget instead, because that's where his raise that they're proposing is represented. And then that motion would be, if we're voting on that, then we would move to vote on that, and then we'd be discussing the selectmen's budget.
So if you end up getting this pay raise, are you gonna ask for another pay raise next year?
Most likely not.
Well, it's also
Well, but
up
if you've
to
got a
the
3%
performance.
cost of living increase or something like that,
Right.
Well, that's,
so, well, I don't want, his answer was no, but I don't want that to come back on him next year, because his answer is actually yes.
That's going in the minutes.
Yeah. Well, people remember things, and, well, he said last year, so I would say.
He said he's not planning on it.
Yeah.
I would say you would have to expect at least a cost of living increase.
I don't think we go, before we started, there was multiple years without raises, but since then, I don't think we go a year without doing
No.
something for the employees, so.
well, I feel he should probably get a pay raise, but I have an issue with it going so high.
Another way of looking at it,
Devil's advocate.
it's not that it's a big raise from last year to this year, or from this year to next year, but rather, last year was too low. And I think that's what Dick tried to explain. It was intentionally kept low for a reason, and now we're adjusting it to where it should have been.
The guy he replaced was making 25% more than him.
Tara, have you
Tara?
done the whole,
On his?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's one thing I was gonna put, cause like, based on other towns, he's making 24% less than other towns in his position who are brand new as of this year.
Okay.
And then there's also the fact of, we've got other departments who, people were here, left, hired and wanted a higher rate, and they're already getting a raise too, so it's just, we can't just single out one person. If we're gonna do that, we have to single out every single one.
I don't think we're singling anybody out, I think we're reviewing each raise individually as to, this is only 48% increase in the budget,
66 was
so.
budget.
So you're special, John.
Well, and again, it goes back to, and I don't wanna beat a dead horse, but I mean, we hired him for cheap.
Right.
Another thing you gotta look at is the water department just hired a new guy for
I know.
20 and change, when there's a guy in the highway department that's been here for 36 years that's just barely cracking 20 and change.
You mean
Right,
the hour.
but what does that have to do with your pay?
Well, it's,
what's market forces that are going on for people with your skill set
Right,
that are driving wages.
but it's a retention thing.
Yeah.
You know, what's the incentive for a guy that's been here for 36 years to say, all right, I'm gonna stay for, you know, $22 an hour when this department just hired this kid that has no knowledge, no certifications, no nothing for $3 more an hour than what I'm making,
It's Gary's
Yeah.
fault.
you know?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I agree with you, Al, that, yeah,
I
you gotta,
mean, Gary's been
Fight for
Gary
yourself.
forever. Gary comes, puts his time in, collects a check and goes home.
Yep.
That's all he wants to do. That's his fault if he stayed here that long for that kind of money.
But that also comes back on the road agent too, for not making that recommendation to get him more money. You know, I see the value in my guys, and I believe my guys deserve more money, like hands down, like, they're the rock of this town.
yeah, I don't disagree with the sentiment. I just don't know what it has to do with the discussion we're having, that's all.
No,
I get what you're saying about your pay, and I get what you're saying about the other pay, I just don't know the relationship between the two. Tara, go ahead.
I just figured I'd add, cause I went back to historicals. So going back to Harlan Mitchell in 1988, he was making $35,693. When he left, when Jim Dicey started, Jim Dicey went from $30,980 to $51,592. And that was from 1989 to 2017. So there's a pretty long time there. He was here for a while. Ed Ekins started at 41, ended at 59.5. And then he started less than Ed, so
What did you start at?
40.
yeah. So I mean, Ed was here in 2017 to 2018-ish and left in 22. So in the
He
6
came
years
in-
he was
I think
here,
he came in 19.
19?
Yeah, Jimmy retired in September of 18.
Okay, so then it was probably, yeah,
We
19.
hired Ed
Yeah.
end of 18.
Yeah, and in that, so in that 5 years, give or take, that he was there, it was probably closer to 4 then, he went from 41,423 to 59,597. So that's pretty big in a total of 4 years.
Right. Right, but that's why I'm saying this is a very unique situation.
Yeah.
You've just described, pretty good increases in positions that don't even come close to this. We went from 40 to 52 in the first year, from 52 to 77 in the second year.
Yeah.
So I'm just pointing out the fact that it is dramatic. So it's a significant increase, so I just wanna make sure everybody understands what we're looking at, that's all.
And Ben, you're absolutely correct, but I think we're looking at it wrong. What we really should be looking at is not what it was last year compared to this year, but what should it be? What should it have been all along?
What's on his budget is where everybody else is.
Yeah, what are similar towns?
Fitzwilliam is currently.
Fitzwilliam has a
Brand
lot
new.
more town roads than we do.
Yeah, and they're brand new, starting out at what he's on his budget.
I can't hear
Sorry. So basically, Fitzwilliam, they're starting at where his budget is for this year. So at 77, that's where they started brand new this year because everybody quit.
you. Okay,
So, and that's they're closest to us. Marlboro's making, I think it was like 72.
I
So
think Marlboro is closer road-wise, isn't it,
I
in
don't know.
terms of mileage?
Yeah, I don't know mileage.
Marlboro?
Yeah.
Town roads, not state.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Marlboro's got a lot more roads than we do.
I'd have to ask
I'm just
Craig.
saying, that's all.
Is there any action that anybody wants to take, or are we just batting this thing around?
Yeah.
We just
I
beat the
think-
dead horse.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready to move on if
Yeah.
nobody wants to take any action. Okay, 77 it is, John. Was there anything else on the operating budget that we need to, I think we've covered everything, but that we missed? Okay.
I do have one question.
Yep.
On, let me find it here. On the second page, with the radios.
Yep.
I'm just curious, why are we using radios instead of cell phones?
Well, there's a hands-free law.
Say again?
There's a hands-free law.
Yeah,
So if we're out during a snowstorm, it's easier to just grab the mic and call somebody on the radio.
Well, if you're reaching for the mic, that's not really hands-free. But
Get to that.
I know in my car, I can talk on my cell phone hands-free.
Yeah, 2 of our trucks don't have that.
But that's an aftermarket
Yeah.
change that you can make.
Yeah.
That might be, or you can just use a little bit of Velcro and just stick your phone on the dash.
But they're,
You have cup holders?
So there's.
We're not talking big money
But
here.
there's a-
I'm
there's
just,
a-
I'm just curious as to why
no,
we're
it's just,
doing that.
it's easier for us to keep a line of communication open with
Yeah.
like the police department, fire department, other towns we can talk to.
Yeah.
So if we need help, say up on South Street and I get
Yeah.
stuck and Fitzwilliam's closed, I could call and say, hey, Troy Highway to Fitzwilliam, you got somebody close, come
Does it
hold
work
me up.
like a party line where you're
Yeah, it's,
constantly?
everybody
so you
hears
can-
it,
you
it's on
can-
that,
right.
on that
It-
frequency.
It all comes off the repeater in Fitzwilliam.
It's a totally different thing, Alan. Yeah, the cell
Okay.
phone is an absolutely different function.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause if you're trying to reach a group of people, that your cell phone's never just gonna be easy to do that.
Well, I'm not speaking against it, I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah. No, it's just it's a line of communication to keep everybody
Okay,
together.
makes sense.
Alright, warrant articles for the highway department. Does this sheet of paper match what we have in the actual warrant? Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Fine,
the top 2 are just what he wants to see put in the fund,
Okay,
and the bottom 2 are the 2 articles that are reflected in the draft.
alright, so we'll go over the first one here, that I have on this sheet. This is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $60,000 to be added to the already established Highway and Streets Capital Reserve Fund. Majority vote required. The last sentence is not necessary. And what do we normally put in there?
Fifty?
50, so you're going from 50 to 60?
Yep.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts on that?
No, cause everything is expensive that he's going to need to buy eventually.
I think we've been putting 50 in there for some time, haven't we? I think that matches multiple years.
2021, 25, 22, 25,
I
and
see,
the
I
last
was
2 years,
thinking-
15, 15.
Okay, so we bumped it up the last couple of years. Okay. Everybody still, no questions, good with that? Alright, next one we have on here is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $63,000 to be added to the already established highway department maintenance and repair capital reserve fund. This is normally,
25.
Yeah, and then you'll see when we talk about the CIP's work that, if you wanna do a replacement cost per year for their current equipment and infrastructure, it'd be $63,165.
okay.
Is this for roads?
You went off of that,
No,
No, this
that's for
is
maintenance and repair on the equipment.
Oh,
for the trucks.
So just to give you an idea,
And what, over what period of time? 5 years, 10 years, 20
You're
years?
gonna be spreading it over 10 years.
so just to give you an idea, our loader is a 98. And I can just imagine, I don't know what it cost back then, cause I was 5 years old, but, I looked at a brand new loader, similar size, different, makers. It's anywhere between 240 and 280 for a
Yeah.
brand new loader.
So, this says maintenance and repair.
It's really just their equipment.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
and
is capital purposes, there should not be any maintenance repair coming out of this.
Just their highway department equipment. Capital reserve fund.
Okay.
it's what we have to
But
do.
that's how it's worded in the town report.
So
Oh, that's
it
confusing.
should say maintenance repair though, should it?
Right, it should say highway equipment,
Where did you find that on?
the town report,
Last year's or the previous one?
last year's.
Yeah, because it's named Highway Department and Highway and Streets. That's what it's named on our sheet of.
So these are 2 separate accounts.
Yes, one is for actual highways and streets, like for, if you wanna redo a
So
that's
road.
the first one.
Yeah,
Yep, and
Okay.
the second one is highway department, and that is for highway department equipment.
Equip. Alright.
equipment.
That's what we looked at for CIP.
Well, no, I know the equipment, we didn't look at the streets yet.
The original establishment of this account was in 1970. It says to see if the town will vote to establish a capital reserve fund for the purpose of purchasing equipment for the highway department and to appropriate the sum of $3,000 for this purpose. Boy, times have changed. That's $60,000 less
that
than
was
what
a
we
horse
get
Push
tonight.
lawnmower.
A lot of them back then, they just say they established for the police and then nothing.
Yep, didn't put anything into it.
Doesn't
Go
say
back
anything
to
like
that
what it's
year.
for.
Wow, I wish we could.
Push more stays on
There you
Man,
go.
those are such a pain to push.
I don't know,
them. Yeah.
as far as repairing street, what do we have in that account now?
I'm looking.
100 and something, I believe.
Alright, so let's,
149,600.
this is in
You have a list?
number 2 here.
Number
right?
2, no, number 1 is the
Number
roads
one.
and streets.
Okay. Is how much?
149.
600.
As of last year, it's called the highway department in here, under the MS9. And then, the other one is called highways and streets capital reserve under the MS9.
You have to tell me what you found.
Yeah, the language is
Should
correct
say
in
that.
here. Yeah, it definitely should say that.
Yeah, I don't know where it says it.
Yeah,
but it should.
that's good though, in the town report, it would say
The
that.
highways and streets is for doing
Roads.
Right.
paving and stuff like that, correct?
It's very aptly named.
Yes, I know.
It's roads and shit.
Yeah.
Roads and stuff.
And just while we're talking about capital reserve funds, that has to go to a town meeting to take money out of that?
Yeah, that one has, no,
No agents
No
to spend.
yeah,
Okay, so that's town.
Yeah.
And you're gonna
Article
put
needs to
60,000
be-
in there, so, are you not planning on taking anything out of this, this year?
Not,
that's,
not this year.
Okay,
use-
just,
We're gonna use the block grant again this year.
okay,
Okay.
so that's gonna be over 200,000.
Yeah.
After this year. Yep, not questioning, it's just, get the facts out.
How much, I know, what's it cost to replace a road? Kind of a big question, but
Probably,
like,
probably all of it.
I mean, I feel like there's certain roads that people have talked about that need to be done,
Yeah.
but those are gonna be fixed under this block grant that we keep talking about. Okay. So this will be for the following year when Brook Street floats away.
Brook Street's gonna be paved this year.
So is the money that you haven't used in the past been from highway block grant going, you making sure that it's going into that account?
I don't know, thought that was your job.
That is.
Tell me where
I wasn't
it's
here.
from.
So
We do want to make sure that.
the attempt on most years prior to the last couple since you've been here, was to spend the entire block grant in that given year that it arrived. So rolling the block grant hasn't been a common practice for the town, so.
I think it's more sensible to use that block grant each year and do a little bit.
Right.
And then we'll use Gat Mountain Road, for example. We take that, if it passes $200,000 and throw that at Gat Mountain Road.
Well, and the point of the block grant is to offer some level of maintenance for your roads, and it only provides like $45,000 a year, so it's never going to be enough, so you should start by spending all of that, so that you don't have deferred maintenance on your roads.
Right.
That would be my opinion on it. Yeah, you
That's
should
what
not be
we've,
rolling
that's
any
what
of
we've
that
been
over.
doing, isn't it?
Most of the time, yeah, I don't know if they're,
Yeah.
these guys are talking
I
about
just wanna make
potentially
sure
having
that if
something.
we're not spending some of it, it's not going some roads, it's going where it should.
We should be
Ended
spending
this
it
year
all,
with
It sounds like.
just over
Good.
5,000.
easily.
Okay.
And that was with doing all Russell Ave.
Okay, so the answer to one of your questions, Steve, was what, are we taking anything out of these funds this year? And to one fund, the answer was no,
Yes.
because we're using block grant on it, but the other fund, it looks like yes, based on this next
Yeah, I noticed that.
article.
I was
Oh, alright,
specifically in the first
okay,
On the highways, yeah,
carrying on then.
highways and streets, okay. The next one is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of up to $175,000 for the purchasing of an excavator and all necessary equipment for the highway department and transfer station. This will look at removing 87.5 from the highway department account, not maintenance and repair capital reserve.
Yeah.
And then 87.5 from the transfer station, recycle center, equipment special revenue fund.
Is that what you pulled up? The machine?
Yeah, yeah, would you like me to go back to that?
Sure.
That's pretty.
Is that it?
Yep, we actually demoed it this summer for 2 weeks.
Does that have outriggers on it?
Yep.
Okay.
It's got a front two-way blade and it's got rear stabilizers, dual tires. It doesn't require DEF fluid for the diesel system because it's under a certain horsepower. It's got a 3-piece articulated boom. The one that I spec'd out has that tilt bucket that's on it. And it has a hydraulic thumb and it'll come with a mulching head for roadside mowing.
I don't speak any of that language, so you gentlemen who know
So-
what that is.
I'll translate.
So,
Good piece of equipment.
so it does more than dig, it'll mow.
It's multi-fun, oh, can
And
we
you
use
can
it to
use-
mow? Oh,
Drive down the road and
there
mow
we
off the
go,
side.
that's
Yeah.
nice,
So
because
we-
we're spending a lot of money on this mowing.
So we have, what is this gonna do differently than the trackless roadside mower?
I'll be able to get up much higher
Okay,
and a lot more reach
okay.
than,
So there's $17,800, or no, $16,600 of this cost is just for that mower head.
Yeah.
Which is in addition to existing mowing equipment that we do have for this. This obviously does more than that, but just to put it in perspective.
this is basically for high mowing, like tree branches and stuff, clip trees or
Yeah.
clip trucks.
So,
And then the trackless is for like mowing the ditches and then the lower
and is
shrubbery.
it gonna
Put
be
it up
able to mow
vertical
the,
and just,
You
the
can do the same
fences?
thing with that
Yeah.
one too, yep.
where we're spending what, 15,000 to mow around the fences around transfer station and dams and things like that?
Just gonna be able to get all the way around that. What
Tra-
size machine is this? How many ton machine is this?
That's a 12,000 pound machine, I
Okay.
believe,
I have a digging bucket as well.
24 inch.
So I come from this world, so
Yeah.
I bought I myself bought a 12,000 pound machine. It's a 6-ton, it doesn't have the articulating boom, that to me is absolutely unnecessary. And I paid 72 for that machine. I got an articulating bucket, I got a mechanical thumb. It's not wheeled, so that's definitely a major difference between the two. So yeah, just, this is all of it, like this is as much as you could possibly spend on a 6-ton machine, all of it.
You say articulating boom?
It has the boom it's a 3-piece boom, so it does something different in the center.
So you know how an excavator has the normal arm,
Well, the articulating bucket is,
the tilt.
that's what that's for, you know, I
Yep.
don't think you need an articulating boom.
So the articulating boom is, so if we're on the roadside and tight road, you can sit, parallel with the ditch, and then you can take that boom and move it like this, without moving the cab.
So are you talking about the backhoe function right at the machine?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought this had a third joint in
It
the
does.
boom. Okay,
It's
that's
3-piece.
the part that I'm saying is.
So the articulation is down towards the cab.
Yeah, this is the backhoe function that makes it be able to move right at the cab point. This is the spot that I'm talking about right here that seems to me has a whole nother level of functionality that is gonna be expensive and not used very often, so I don't understand what that's for.
'Cause that gives you that extra reach, like a backhoe with an extender hoe.
Yep.
That's what that does.
So it makes your boom completely straight when you need it to be.
Yep.
Okay. Alright. It's just a ton of it is all the I mean, this is, if you were looking for the most expensive 6-ton machine you could find, this is it. You have found it. You have found the unicorn. So, yeah,
Actually,
congratulations.
There's another unicorn.
So, I'm just, it's a beautiful machine, there's no doubt about it, but it's like, holy shit, this is
There's the 3 others I looked at, the Hyundai was cheaper, but it didn't have outriggers. And it
Yeah,
had
the
single
outriggers are
wheels.
nice to have on the wheeled machine.
So we
That's it, doesn't fall over?
we demoed both.
That's the point.
We demoed both machines this year. We had the Hyundai for like a month. And we used it like twice and it just sat there because it was too tippy. And then we used this and we actually did about 1,100 feet of ditch with that machine in 3 days. And then the other machine that we were gonna demo was just way overkill.
Oh, I want one, don't get me wrong. I'm just not gonna pay for one. Yeah.
Well, they kinda are.
Oh, yeah, I would, I look at this from a business standpoint, I would not buy this myself, personally.
And you gotta look at it from a licensing standpoint too.
What's the licensing part of it?
You don't need a CDL to drive that.
You guys have CDLs?
2 of us do. We don't have CDLAs.
You don't need that in town.
Anyway, does anybody else have any thoughts or comments about it?
There's $252,000 in the transfer station account that they're paying us on. Education.
That was gonna be one of my other questions, I know this is gonna see some activity down there, you know, like what percentage of the time is it going to spend at the, so if I had, let's use 100,000 as an example, so if I had $100,000 and it was gonna spend 10% of its time at the transfer station, I would take 10,000 out of there and the rest out of the highway department. Just cause the money that's in the transfer station, I don't know what it's earmarked for, but we have cover issues with the landfill. I know that, those needed repairs a few years ago, I don't know if they've been done or not, right, so we've got things that need to be done down there, I just wanna make sure cause we don't actually have line item in the transfer station fund for putting anything in there.
No, that's where the labor contracted services comes in with the
Yeah.
landfill because, so the way I understand it, talking to the state the last time they were down there, is all the deficiencies that they have listed for us down there, we pay them out of pocket, and then we get reimbursed once they're fixed. So that's why the labor contracted services is so high for the transfer station, so we can fix those, and then at the end of the year, we get that reimbursement back. We're not technically spending that money. And we can keep doing that, like the fence line, that's gotta be mowed.
How often?
And it hasn't-
Depends on how much sun and rain, I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
it hasn't
in
been done
general.
since the transfer station been
Right.
open. So this
The
is,
first time's gonna be fun.
They've done it,
yeah,
they
I mean,
contracted and paid up.
we've already got halfway around the outside of the fence mowed, and that took a week.
Once it's done though, it'll be much
Once
better
it's
to
done,
maintain, yeah.
Again, I'll reiterate like I did last year and, the last meeting, it's getting back onto that routine maintenance. So this year, like this winter, I'm gonna have him come back in while everything's frozen and be able to walk on the stream side and get that all mowed down. And then from there, it'll be, next year we'll do it again, and then we'll skip to every other year, just to keep it mowed down. And then we'll be able to run an actual lawnmower out there and keep it down.
Alright, does anybody have any thoughts about?
I don't know anything about it, but it just, that says shit. That's my only thought.
Yeah, and I hate to take away from something else you need, you know, and put all this money into this, and if there's, if we could do $100,000 on a piece of equipment like this and $70,000 on something else, you know, and get 2 pieces of equipment for this money, I would much rather do that than do this, but, that's just my 30,000 foot view on the whole situation, so. So let's do the next warrant article, and then we'll take a vote on the 3 smaller ones together. I think that's reasonable for us to digest, and then we'll do a separate vote for this warrant article, just so that, because it is the big ticket item, so. What's that? Oh yeah, we still gotta act on the budget as well. So the last one is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $13,000 for the purchase of a new zero-turn lawnmower for the highway department and transfer station. See the town will vote to authorize withdrawal of said amount from the highway department equipment fund.
6,500.
Oh, 7,500, excuse me. Yep.
6,500.
I have 75 on mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was the correct.
Adam corrected me.
What?
Okay,
Oh.
okay.
The math was wrong,
Right.
they wrote it up.
Yep, and
That's all
then,
I got.
and then 6,500 from the so you're splitting it even on those two.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so what number on here is wrong?
The 75 on both those 75 should be
65?
65s, yep.
Thank you.
They should add up to the total requested. What size zero turn is this? Should I just look for the most expensive zero turn on the internet? What size is it?
The 65 inch.
65.
Yep.
Okay.
Commercial grade.
What's the brand you're looking at?
Right now I'm looking at John Deere and, what is it, Lexmark, Exmark?
Yep, next one.
Yep.
Okay. That will get you a nice machine. Does anybody else have any questions on that or thoughts on it?
Yeah. What are we using this on? Where are we gonna be using it?
The transfer station.
Just down there?
On the landfill, and then up in the, corner up there.
That's the only location?
No, Quarry Road and Route 12, that corner. We do the dam, the Village Pond Dam.
Yep.
I've been mowing the water and sewers manhole on Prospect Street, that area.
Yep.
And then we do the ball field down on Marlboro Road.
That was
Right.
contracted out.
Do we even use that area down there for anything? So why do we maintain it so much?
That's a selective question.
I mean, it's really used. I know people let their dogs run around there, but,
Talking about Marlboro,
yeah, the ball field.
it's sporadically used, not used. Depends upon if the league takes it or not. If you don't mow it this year, it's gonna be 3 feet high and you're gonna have to spend more to fix it next year.
It's technically cemetery land, isn't it?
Well, you don't have time to sort that out.
This meeting, please.
There may or may not have been federal grants that were accepted that kinda weren't fully, we haven't sorted out where the,
Fine line.
no, we seem to have built a community center on land we don't own, so let's just not go there.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, we don't own
Oh, the building.
Yeah.
You're squatting on it now, so.
it. We signed that land over to the state of New Hampshire, Bill Mattson did 40 years ago.
Forgot about it?
So we got a $5,000 grant, the old toilets that were there and on Marlboro Road.
So is it necessary to have a mower this big? I'm all asking, cause I know what you're looking at.
Well, how much are you gonna save if you buy one that's a little bit smaller? That's the real question. So you buy one with a
So,
48
alright.
inch desk.
Overall, how many acres are you doing?
That I couldn't tell
Is it more than what I mow?
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Okay.
My question would be, did you really look at all the options, because John Deere stuff
I
is
don't think you
traditionally
left too
pretty
many options
expensive.
off.
It's all expensive.
Does it have a
Yeah,
cup
all the options are on here. It comes with beer.
You see the cup holders?
Yeah, and it's probably got the stereo.
What about looking at a Husqvarna or something?
They're all comparable in price, especially when you go commercial grade. We can't go homeowner grade.
Tractor.
Mine's commercial,
They are expensive.
What size
it's
is
a
that?
52-inch deck.
How much we paying for a contractor now for mowing purposes?
Broken up in all the separate budgets, I wouldn't be able to pull it up.
You'd have to add them all up. And then
Use the
it's
common
quite,
as an example. What does it cost per mow on the common? Do we?
he doesn't charge us that way.
No.
we're talking Jason here.
That's true,
I mean,
that's true. You get a lump sum every 6 months.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
It's like,
Yeah.
he needs to buy something, so he sends us a bill.
yeah.
It's the last time I looked at it, it was $1,700 a year to mow the common,
Okay, so
for the whole year,
my thought process
but I
is
wouldn't try and
that
duplicate.
kind of money and the man hours it's gonna take per season for that, is it worth it to add on to the contract service you already have?
Well,
Take
here's the,
care of this mowing?
if, in principle, I agree with you. And I've certainly had this argument with the cemetery department.
Are they contracted out? or
No, no, that's
Not
Chip's.
yet.
Skip's, but if he ever retires, then they have to hire somebody and they don't feel they can hire somebody who would do as good a job as he does, which I completely agree with.
Right.
And the problem you have with everything that you said, I agree with, except the problem is our contractor is at probably his maximum capacity or very close to it. Based on jobs I know he's declined.
Mhm.
So then we have to go into the real market for contractors, and they're not gonna work for what he works for.
No, I know that.
So that's the real problem. We have an artificially low price from our contractor.
But even if you had to go market rate, that would be a comparison to do.
It would be twice as much.
Yeah, and you couldn't get I mean, unless we were to give a separate contractor, like the whole cemetery contract,
Right.
then you might get some smaller pieces like this to go along with it, but
Right.
they're not gonna come out here for just that,
Right.
so, there's that.
I think the thing to do for now is give them the equipment that they need. And I think, this goes back to the whole thing of coordinating the mowing between this building and the ball field and the commons and the Marlboro Road and the cemetery. There's a package there that would be worth somebody doing. Particularly when you're gonna eliminate some personnel and through attrition, really. But that is not a problem that appears to be able to be resolved in this year.
What are we using now? So
Nothing
there's-
has been mowed since the beginning of the transfer station.
Beginning of Troy?
Apparently.
It's
Sorry,
a
John,
sheep.
you were gonna say.
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead, I'm
cheaper.
sorry.
So right now, we mow the transfer station with the trackless machine, with the 14-foot battling mower. And that seems to be posing a problem with the cap on the transfer station,
You're digging it up.
digging it up.
So you're talking about mowing the whole
We
cap
have,
of
we
that.
have to keep the
On that
vegetation.
slope.
Because that's part
That
of
seems like a bad idea.
requirements, right?
Yeah,
And
so if
so,
we keep that trackless off that mound, better off we're gonna be.
well, and so let's go down that rosy road. If you screw up that cap on that transfer station, on the, whatever you call it, landfill, it's gonna cost you more than $13,000 in one whack, and you're not gonna have any opportunity to discuss it and say, well, we didn't mean to. You're gonna fix it, and you're gonna fix it right now, today.
And then we'll spend $13,000 to buy.
Right.
What's the size?
The trackless was about 100 when we bought that
65
in
inches,
2016.
60-inch there.
60-inch
$100?
tire.
100,000. So, yeah, the wear and tear on the trackless as well, like you would wanna use that thing for the things that it's meant to be used for, it doesn't
Right.
sound like that's what it's meant to be
Yeah.
used for, so
Right.
you've
using
got
the wrong piece
two
of
wear and tear
equipment.
things going on at
Right.
the same time that this alleviates.
You're
Yeah, cause
picking
we don't
up
wanna
the wrong
replace that
piece of
trackless
equipment.
anytime
Where
soon.
did you go to get this price?
That came straight from John Deere dealer,
Which one?
Down Mass, down
Down
Vernon,
Mass.
or
The
Little Falls?
DePaula? Is that what it is?
no, it's United Ag and Turf.
I know where you are.
But, actually, the Beaver Trapper is, the warehouse manager for, United Ag and Turf, and he has a sales guy.
Have you checked like Pinnacle or Gary's or places like that?
Winchester Motorsports,
Oh,
the X-Mark.
Gary's Power Equipment.
they got
Gary's.
Mahindras.
Yeah, Gary's are all Mahindras.
Maybe not on the zero turns, I think they have something else in there.
Well, it seems like 13's gonna cover it, and we would appreciate
Whatever he buys.
getting the best deal you can.
Yeah.
If you
That's
spend
what I was
10,
gonna say.
it's okay, John, alright? Just because 13's in here doesn't mean you have to spend the whole 13.
I know.
Alright,
Make
Oh,
it
Now,
look
are
good.
they gonna charge you sales tax bringing it up from Massachusetts?
Nope,
They shouldn't.
No,
they won't because we're a neighboring state. Right now, we mow the ball field with the trackless machine also. And then the other little parts in there, we use the cemetery's zero turn, which is this big,
No, it's bigger than that.
It's
24 inches, 24 inches.
22-inch dash.
That's me for the cemetery. Small.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
That makes
Which-
sense at the cemetery, cause it's better go in.
Get the
Yeah.
pin headstone.
Yeah.
That must look ridiculous sitting on top of that thing.
Oh, you should
22-inch
see
deck is
driving
almost
down
a
the
push
road.
behind.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're wandering off
yes,
here.
we very much are.
Does, does anybody have any other non-joking comments about the zero turn?
No, that's good, let's move on.
Okay, so let's make is everybody okay with making a motion on 1, 2, and 4?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. This is a motion to, support or not support, so I'll entertain either or.
I move that we support items 1, 2, and 4.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? God, no. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, the big ticket item, which is the $175,000 for the other
the other
diamond
ring.
So I will entertain a motion to, support or not support on the wheeled excavator.
I move that we support the motion number 3 on our list to purchase the wheeled excavator, subject to corrections in whatever fund it's supposed to be coming out of. This is one that was wrong.
Yep.
No, that was the
Four was wrong.
Oh, 4 was one that was wrong. Okay.
I'll
We'll take
second.
that as a scrivener's error on number 4.
Yeah.
We have a motion
I second.
to support, do we have a second?
Yeah.
Tara's a second on that one.
Equipment used.
Any
Brookside.
guys? Any other discussion? You can have it with the rest of the group, if you're more than welcome to.
I just feel that we can find something not quite as expensive for this, for what he needs to do here in town. That's my opinion.
Alright, well, we have a motion to approve on the table right now, so that's what we're dealing with, so, that's Al's comment. Is there any other final comments on this? All those in favor of the motion on the table?
Aye.
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 We get 3 ayes. All those that are not in favor?
No.
Abstentions? Okay, motion does not pass. You voted no? Okay, so we had five no's.
Did you vote?
I didn't need to. No vote from me.
Yep, I got 5, okay.
Okay. So, that is a automatic, we do not support this warrant article, because the vote to support was failed. Alright, John, you gotta make your case at town meeting. So.
We'll rewrite it before our next meeting.
Yeah, that's true too, you can always do that, yeah.
Come back with a lower amount.
Yep.
Do you want him to do the 2 transfer station ones?
Yes, please, let's get the budget done, Adam makes a good point before I forget about it. So the budget, do we have a brand new number for the budget? I know we added $1 basically.
482017.
I'll entertain a motion to, recommend or to tentatively approve the operating budget at, say that again? 7. So we got a
Second.
motion,
So moved.
we got a second from Dick. Any further discussion on the operating budget? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. Okay, motion carries. Alright, so we'll get tell me which articles they are, Jeremy, the transfer station articles.
33 and 34.
Right
Yeah.
there.
Where are they?
Which was that?
Yeah.
Draft warrant.
Alright, so I'll read them off.
Yeah, I'm lost.
Me too.
You should have the actual warrant in its own stapled packet.
33 and
Just
34.
right in the year to date.
Oh, wait, I'm getting closer. Alright, read, I can search this
Oh,
one.
no, it's fine, I'll wait till everybody catches up.
Ah, no, you're gonna be here all night.
We're doing alright.
No,
There we go.
Page 9.
Page 9.
What numbers?
33 and 34.
Okay, alright.
Alright, Article 33, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate up to $25,000 for the removal of vegetation around the perimeter of the landfill, the work needed to bring the swales up to state requirements, and to replace monitoring well cap, and to authorize the withdrawal of the same from the transfer station recycling center special revenue fund.
I move that we approve.
Motion to support,
Second.
we got a second? Alright, discussion.
So we're talking about the removal of vegetation with the fancy shiny machine. Is this the same vegetation or is this different vegetation?
No, it's the same vegetation. That's gonna be labor contracted.
Unless you, and then if you get your machine, then you could use the machine for that, to do this vegetation?
Eventually,
So,
yes.
I mean, it's a good argument, just to note, but,
We're buying the zero turn for that too, so, we're buying a lot of stuff.
No, the zero turn is for on top of the mountain, and the shiny machine is for around the side.
Okay, but you said once you got it up to speed, in a couple of years, you'd be able to bring
should
an
be
actual
able to
mower
use-
around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we can use a zero tone there? Oh, okay, sorry,
Okay.
Oh, you're good.
anyway, okay, go on.
John, is
No.
there access around that fence to get that machine up there?
Yeah.
Is a road up there for that?
Yeah, you can get all the way around that.
I have a question.
Um,
What's a swale?
The ditch.
It's a drainage ditch.
Okay, thanks.
There's actually two of them. There's one
I had to look it up.
toward the bottom of the landfill, and then there's one higher up, and it just prevents
To figure out how to spell it.
washing out, and it all drains out into the river.
You had me at ditch.
Ditch, swale,
Water thingy.
We're hoping the state will.
they are
reimburse us.
synonymous. Alright, Adam,
Okay.
So if 33 and 34 and the two highway department ones that we just voted on all pass, we're taking $149,000 out of the transfer station revenue fund. There's 250,000 in it, but we've never taken a lot out of there, and I think we wanna pay the monitoring out of there, was the
Well, I
plan.
got voted down,
No, that passed.
to pay the monitoring out of there?
To add the selectmen as the agents is what failed. There's two different articles.
Oh, so then we have to have, okay, well, that's a whole
So-
other issue.
That's a
Do
lot
we
of
budget
money
for
in
the
one.
monitoring in the?
Well, what's the downside to that? I mean, that's.
I'm just pointing out, cause we've never taken anything but bags out of there in the last
Well,
like 10 years, so it's
Right.
grown great, but this year we put in 60,000.
Right.
I don't think we should use that for monitoring wells.
We can, we don't have to.
so, just another point on this, we use that fund to pay the $90,000 annual bond payment, for years up until 2018.
No, I think I was still,
No,
I was here.
more recent than that.
Okay, but you get my point,
Yeah.
so that was coming out of there as well, and that was meant for a
Well, that's why
long-term
it's-
capital purchase that had happened there, so.
Right.
That's why it's been getting big. Right.
Yeah.
So now you've got some long-term capital purchases, and it seems to track, and it makes more sense than.
Just make sure everybody's paying attention to it when they're spending out of it.
Mhm.
That's my only point.
Thank you, sir. It's noted.
Duly noted. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Okay, so
Okay.
on Article 33, we have a motion on the table. Is there any more discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Alright, Article 34, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate up to $30,000 to purchase a new baler for the transfer station and to authorize the withdrawal of the same from the transfer station recycling center special revenue fund. What's the age of our current baler? Oh, wait, I'll take a motion first. Probably do this.
I move to, support.
I'll second.
Motion to support in a second. All right, discussion. What's the age of our current baler?
Which one?
I don't know, the one we're replacing.
We're not replacing any.
Oh, you're adding one to the situation.
The oldest one is when the transfer station was built. So
Okay.
we are getting close to the retirement age of those balers down there. But adding one would make, right now, we're using one baler for two separate items. So the one baler that we're using for two items was originally for aluminum cans, and now we're splitting it between aluminum cans and mixed paper. So we wanna add one so we can bale everything that we need to.
So you stockpile the paper or whatever until you're done with the baler on the aluminum side, then put the paper in and do it. Okay. I get what you're saying.
It's not, efficient.
Gotcha. So how many balers does this make? Will
That'll
this make
put 5 down there.
5 balers down there? Okay. Anybody else have any other questions on this one? All those in favor of the motion to support?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We got one abstention? Motion carries. You gotta speak up over here, Matt, you're kinda like hiding in my blind spot. Alright, I think we're,
Do we wanna do Article 15 too? That's
was
roads.
there something for John on Article
It's,
15?
yeah, it's roads. I didn't know if that had to do with him.
Roads and streets, the block grant.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty standard operating procedure, we don't have to have John hang around for this.
Alright, cool.
This is just receiving the funds, I believe. Is that number accurate? That's the only question I have on it, okay. Alright, John, thank you, sir. Well, unless you wanna hang out.
Yeah, I'll stay in Torquay.
You gotta give up your seat though, because Dave's in.
You come sit over here.
Sit here.
Come sit next,
Maybe sit.
sit next to me, I'll just kick you out.
You do that anyways from over there.
Alright, I'll put away the jewelry on the screen now.
Have a naming contest for it.
Oh, yeah.
David.
No, for the big fancy.
Have fun.
We should have a, yeah.
You broke
Then we'll
it.
get a label on it. John's name.
Yeah, you have to get a.
Johnny's
get a
calling.
wrap.
There we go.
It's like, it won't, hopefully it's like Seward's fault though, and then, yeah, that's the best part of this ever.
Alright.
Hi, Dave.
Hi,
Sorry to keep you waiting.
somebody told me to be here at 6 o'clock.
It was not me.
Fix you
That was
someday.
not me.
No.
The fixed German
Looks like a
wagon.
ticket is in your. No, Dave won't give him a ticket, but drive through Fitzwilliam really slow.
Okay, so to get my head around this looks a little different than the last budget. So are the notes on the side all new notes, or are these a mix of new notes and existing notes? Because I really just wanna go over the changes from your original presentation to today.
Right. So, what, do you have this?
Yeah, I've got that right there. That's what I'm looking at.
What's the top figure? 'Cause I don't think I have.
Bottom figure,
No, the top,
For police chief,
yeah.
75.
75
Oh, it
reduced
is,
from
okay, so that's what I
77.
got, alright. Because originally, on the budget that was 536, that was 77.
Okay.
But, so, I mean, if you want, I figured out, so anyway, the budget that was 588, the one that you have, and that's with the 4th full-time officer.
So that's the major change, is for a full-time officer.
Yes,
Okay.
But we reduced the part-time positions.
You adjusted some lines to help make up.
yeah,
Okay,
and
so
I,
let's start at the top and we'll go with the full-time officer first.
yeah,
which is 107, is that the new? No, wait, it's,
No, we-
103.
103.
Yes, 103. And so that figure is, of course, from April to the end of the year. That's for the $60,000 salary for a year.
Okay.
So
We gotta make a decision on that too, like, so that it's the same on each budget. I'm actually speaking more to the selectman's office as to whatever we're doing, we're gonna do the same thing on every budget. If we're gonna do a prorated number, let's use a prorated number. It doesn't matter what I think, it just make sure they're all the same. That's gonna be the easiest thing.
Well, I think, you know, our concern is we don't wanna come in and put $60,000 in that line, cause then we're asking for money. We don't need that money.
Same as on the other bid thing.
Right, so I think as long as I think when we come back here next year to build the next year's budget is what your real question is.
Yeah, that's just where the confusion's gonna lie. But if we do it that way, that's fine. Let's just do it that way on all of them.
If we're, yeah, it should be consistent
Yeah.
throughout all of them.
Yep, and I think we can explain that and figure it out next year, but
Right.
doing it from one budget to the next and going, did we do the 3/4 on this one, or did we do the 100%?
Well, and that's
Need
been
to
the
keep some
confusion
notes
because
for-
we're about the third year into the conversion over to doing the raises that way.
Right,
So-
yep,
We've done it in highway, but we've done so many different versions now where.
Yeah.
I'll adjust it.
okay, so 60,000 is what you have in here for this person for an ongoing figure.
Right.
You've got it prorated for 2025 because you won't be looking for this person
Exactly.
until April. but-
Yes.
Yeah, okay, understood. Does anybody have any questions on that? Cause that's the biggest thing here. So we're going to 4 full-time
Yes.
employees at this point.
And the reason for that is, right now, we're down to one part-time, with two, but, Officer Phillips will be getting done this year at some point. He works part-time in Winchester too, and so he's gonna be getting, so I'm gonna be down to one part-timer. To find part-time people is not like it used to be. You'd find retired cops that would wanna do part-time still, and you can't find that anymore. And also the academy, we didn't find out, we were asking all year long if there was gonna be a part-time academy this year, and they finally told us in December there was, but the one person that showed interest decided not to wanna do it, so it's just nobody out there that wants to do it as a job anymore, so,
Do you have to put in more time than you used to get to reach retirement? Like on the state side for law enforcement?
well, the part-time,
No, but I mean,
Oh,
like, 'cause I
for
remember when
full-time?
it was like 20
It
years,
used
so
to be
somebody
20,
that got in
now
at 20 years
25.
old, they could retire at 40, and that creates a pool of people that you might be able to
Yeah,
hire
it
as
went from-
part-timers.
25 years and 50 years old, right?
Right.
Where it used to be 20 and 45
Okay,
years old. And now, and that's what used to draw a lot of officers from Massachusetts, was that 20-year, 45 years old
Yeah,
retirement. And that's why there was never any issues back then.
okay,
But we're hoping the governor will, cause she does know, cause we told her about this, that retirement needs to change, because that's what's causing departments like Swansea be down five, 6 people.
Chesterfield's another one.
Chesterfield, Keene, I
well, they
mean,
all are.
yeah, yeah,
Well, and the way the retirement system did it, it screwed the towns who don't have a big budget for police officers, so they rely on part-time guys,
Right,
and they cut the freaking hours from 32 to 25.
right,
So if you go over the allotted hours for that year, if you're on, if you retired and you go over the hours 1 hour, you get penalized half your pension for that next year because of the work done
right,
in Troy, so to speak.
sure.
So, good luck finding anybody,
So you got this whole
especially
pool,
with people who wanna work.
well, you've got
right.
this whole
Well,
people.
Tim,
Like
That's what I
me.
was thinking, no, I was just thinking, you've got this whole pool of people that you're denying yourself access to because,
Politics.
well, yeah, because they're concerned about double dipping, so-called.
And that's what happened.
And if you could work and just say, okay, I've got my pension, and whatever I do now doesn't require pension or contribution, that would actually work well.
But it was a double dipping and they dropped it from 32 to 25 because
Right.
at 32 hours a week has a potential of taking a full-time equation out of the slot, which is a contributor to the state retirement.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions on the full-time employee? I mean, that pretty much
No,
covers
yeah.
all the nitty gritty on it. Okay, so Dave, if you could just skip us down to the items that you changed to try to maybe help offset this, or
Yeah, so I did, it won't be so we'll go by the line item
okay,
and the change that I made,
okay,
and which isn't on here, so the part-time, it gets okayed for the full-time. You took the part-time down to $17,000 instead of the $24,200. That would be 16 hours a week, which that's with a full-timer, that would probably be what it is, 2 shifts.
okay, so
If
just to
that.
clarify, we're on line 102.
Yep,
We have on our report 24.2 as the proposed 2025 number.
right. So what
you
I'm
want
doing is, because of the 588, I made some changes to bring that down.
What is your new number on your,
My new number with these changes is 576, 404.
You did adjustments after you submitted it to me.
okay,
Yeah, no, I
Just going down.
did this last night while I was working.
okay,
Alright,
Just to make it, I can work it with it,
okay,
and it will bring it down. So, yeah, on the part-time, the 102 was 17,000.
okay,
Then if we go down to 201, which is the ammunition, that'll be 1,500, cause I actually purchased my ammo for the new guns that came in, that we purchased last year, they finally came in. I purchased that ammo for those new guns for qualifying and for duty last year, so, I had originally 2,500 in there. Right, let me see, 201, is that what it is?
yep, you're on 201 next.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I went down to 1,500 in that one.
Okay.
The equipment budget, will be,
This is 315,
315, I'm sorry, yeah.
okay,
It's at 4,000,
okay,
that's from 5,000.
okay,
So then 558 is the meal reimbursement. I took it down to 100 because I already spent a little less than 100 this year, so I won't spend any the rest of the year. I'll just buy our meals for training and stuff myself. And then 290 for the memberships, will be 250 instead of 500. Then 911, which is the tires for the Ram, taking that down to 1,000. Cause I bought some with last year's budget at the end of the year, so these tires will go. And then that 1,000 will buy me another set of 4.
okay,
If I need them by the end of the year. Then the fuel, 861, I took it down to 13,000 from 15,000.
okay,
And so that, figuring that, I cut 12,150, so it brings it down to 176,404.
576,404, and Jeremy, you'll have some adjustments to make in some of the payroll items, I'm guessing, because one of the bigger changes is that 24.2 down to 17,000.
Mhm.
So we'll have some adjustments that need to be made there. I just have one comment, Dave, the meal reimbursement, let's just ask for the 300. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be paying for any of that out of your pocket, so
Yeah,
If you,
I agree.
Couple of pizzas,
if
you
you
know?
don't, well, if you don't ask for it, I'm gonna make a motion to change it to $300.
Okay, go ahead, all right. You twisted my arm. Oh.
All right, so that's a $200 increase there that offsets the,
I
you
have
guys
a,
get that?
So we've got social security changing, state retirement and medical.
It's about-
Not state retirement because it's
Part-time.
part-time, and there's no state retirement in the.
Yeah, but you got another person coming on this full-time.
No.
Yeah, but that's already in there.
That's baked
it's
into
already-
the health insurance line item, and there's some other changes that took place before the selectmen's meeting, so the selectmen's meeting reflected some additional reductions to help offset the $60,000. And then Dave's done some further reductions to help offset the $60,000 tonight, so.
Okay.
If
the
you have any
meeting Dave
questions
had
on
with
those,
himself.
what's that?
The meeting Dave had with himself, he also reduced it further.
Yeah.
If we leave it alone,
meeting.
it's
Probably a lot of
long enough, he's
arguments
gonna come
going
back
on
and
there.
pay us
It's
for it.
productive. Productive meeting,
I have a question.
Yep.
So I just wanna make sure that we're doing this right. You have a bunch of items that you've zeroed out. I mean, so there's not even $1 in there. So
Right.
whatever call time is, there's absolutely positively no possibility whatsoever at all in the next 12 months, you're gonna need $209 for call time.
You
I'm
put
just
if you put $1 in there, that solves the problem.
Yeah, that's my question.
Well, the reason I went with just zero is because just won't put in for any call time. If I take call, when I take calls, that's all.
Well, that's okay.
No,
But,
You put a $1 in there. And then, so I have the same question about the regional prosecutor.
Yeah.
I mean, and training, hiring, and testing. I mean, should we put $1 in there just in case?
It's a good safeguard.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so I didn't even, yeah.
If you put 0, you can't spend it. If you put $1, you can
Yeah.
spend
You
it.
can overspend it at least.
Right, do we
Yeah.
not, we don't have the 2014 Dodge Doge?
No, the 14
Yeah.
will be, that's the Charger,
yeah.
that will be, when I get some time, we're gonna, actually, I got somebody that said they'll come in and help strip it,
Okay,
and then we can put it up for sale, and I got a couple people wanting to buy it, so already.
well, so it's got a 0 there for repairs, but, so we're not gonna fix anything.
No,
We're gonna strip the chrome off it, take the tires, put a couple of bald eagles on there. Other than that, she's good, okay. Just
Alright,
wanted
so
to-
we're gonna see, dollars in line items for 905, let me start at the top here. So
106.
call time 106,
740.
740.
yeah, 740 regional prosecutor, training, hiring and testing 818. And then we're gonna skip on the 14 Dodge,
Yep.
and the 20 Dodge is gonna get $1.
Yep.
And that was line 905.
Yep.
okay.
So shall we attempt to, make a, Jeremy, no, absolutely not.
Come back.
I think we understand what's happening, cause the payroll liabilities are gonna change, but they're just gonna change in reflection of the payroll itself, which we can see and can support, so I would entertain a motion to tentatively approve this at the number that, Dave is presenting with changes to payroll.
I will make that
Second.
motion.
It's 576,608.
And that's with the 200 plus the dollars, right?
Right.
Okay, and then the rest of the payroll stuff will just come in as an adjustment. Okay, so did you capture that motion?
Mhm.
Okay, who made it?
Jamie?
Jamie? Dick made a second, okay. Any further discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? One opposition? Abstentions? No abstentions, motion carries. All right, what do we have on the warrant that belongs to Dave?
Just Article 32?
Article 32. Police Department radios. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate up to $8,000 to purchase and upgrade the radios within the department cruisers in order to work with the county's new dispatch radio system and to authorize the withdrawal of the same from the police department capital reserve fund. I'll entertain a motion to support.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Should this be purchase or upgrade?
Could be considered an upgrade because the
Well-
dispatch is, well, go ahead.
I have severe issues with county. How much money do we pay county per year?
580,000.
Then maybe somebody should call county and get their frickin' radios working properly and get them, find somebody who knows what they're doing to test their radio equipment, cause the radio coverage in this town is awful.
I don't understand what you're talking about, so.
You can buy, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig.
Okay.
Buying new radios is great, but the issue is county. Their communication, whatever they got going on, and he knows it just as well as I do, that sometimes when you key the mic and you call them on a simple traffic stop, you can't hear anything. Or if it's a bad call, you can't hear anything.
Is that
Or
because of their tower and repeater? and
Or
whatever
it's
equipment they
gibberish.
have?
And I have spoke to them repeatedly over the years, it's all recorded lines, and they know exactly what I've said, and I've talked to the powers to be, and I get the same old, same old. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's a safety issue, and nobody seems to wanna approach them to get this rectified. The amount of money this town pays them on a yearly basis, you would think that we could communicate with county from 8 miles as a crow flies to Winter Street in Keene, when dispatch from the Twin Mountains and the White Mountains communicates with the troopers here in Cheshire County, but I can't speak with Cheshire County dispatch from Troy, New Hampshire to Keene. That's a problem. And the amount of money that we're shelling out to Cheshire County per year, I think something needs to be done about this.
What's the relationship of this article to that problem?
Nothing.
Oh, sorry.
No, because what
You cut me
happened,
off on a tangent.
just let it go, Al.
Just wanted to make sure
My
we.
point was, you know, $8,000, that's all well and good, have brand new radios, but.
But we need them because the radios we have now,
Are
what they're
used.
doing is they're putting a new simulcast system in, and only certain radios, and we have Astro radios in our cruisers, those cannot be upgraded, so we have to have new radios. And what they wanted us to do with the new cruiser, you know, with the Tahoe, mutually, they wanted us to put in an $8,000
Dual band.
Motorola dual band radio. I said, why? Why the dual band? Well, so if you gotta go to Brattleboro or even Winchendon, if you have to go to Winchendon, you'll be able to talk to them. I'll get on my cruiser and talk to them when I get there. I mean, I don't see us going to Brattleboro, and I don't, 41 years of doing this job in this area, I've never gone to Winchendon, only to go down by, cause that used to be the first Dunkin' Donuts. But, from Jaffrey, that was Jaffrey. But,
No, but the donut place down there is really good.
oh, yes, that too. So, but, that's what it was. So these radios, I went to R&R Communications, and the radios that I'm asking to purchase are, do you have it in your, oh.
They Kenwood?
The Kenwoods. So they're Kenwood radios, and those are the same radios that they just put brand new in the fire trucks. And the county was telling in the letter they sent me and everybody else that on what radios couldn't be upgraded and stuff, and the Astros is what we have in the cruisers. Our portables are okay, they're all APXs, and so those can be upgraded without having to buy new ones. So the Kenwoods are more than half the price, even put into the cruisers. R&R would put them in. So that'll be 2 radios for $8,000 instead of $8,000 for one radio, which to me, they were just trying to help Motorola, but, I also had R&R double check with Kenwood that these radios will be able to take the simulcast that county's gonna be putting in, and they will.
So the new dispatch radio system that the county's installing, is the intent of that to solve the problem that you're talking about, Al?
They didn't say nothing about, they just said they're gonna put this simulcast.
So if they do that and it doesn't solve the problem, should we just withhold $8,000 from the county payment, Dick?
No.
No, it's not worth it.
Why not? No.
They'll charge us $50,000 because it'll be considered late.
Exactly. No. I was really more tongue in cheek on that.
So back to my question.
Yes,
Are you replacing the radios in all the cruisers, or is the
Just-
newest one gonna get upgraded?
the new one will get upgraded, and right now, cause I'm still keeping the truck will. And the Durango, which has been a problem since 2020, right Al?
Don't
Don't give it to him.
No, no.
I will.
I know, and so that one, what we would do is if we, cause gonna use that for details, things like that, we'll use our portable in it. Instead of,
Okay, but my
Fine.
point was that
yes,
it's not upgrading and doing it, it's either or. You're either replacing a radio or you're upgrading the existing radio.
right, we're replacing,
Your issue is one of.
we have a borrowed
Yes.
radio now in
That's
the
the one
new
in
cruiser.
the Tahoe is a loaner.
Yeah, a loaner, and we'll put that new, one of the new ones in that, and then my truck.
If everybody's happy with it, I don't care,
Alright.
the way it reads.
You want to say purchase new radios for the department cruiser?
But there's,
Don't say new, because if you can find one used, you can't buy it. Never say new.
I don't wanna get Dave's doing the best he can on this.
R&R Communications been around a long time.
Yeah,
They know what they're doing.
Yeah. And Kenwood's a good stuff.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments? No opinions?
Hey, I'm new to this still. Cut me some slack.
Al, would you like to chime in?
All you had to do was ask.
Gotta take a detour once in a while.
Alright, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
What are we voting on?
We're voting on the support of this article. All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Don't look at me, Jeremy, I didn't say.
Anything else that we have to go over for Dave?
Yeah, Dave, you should've gone first, you were like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
John made you sit around for 2 hours.
I'm gonna be buying lunch tomorrow.
Yeah, he's getting the raise, not me.
Wow.
Sorry, John.
Yeah, gee, thanks.
Well, we have to wait till April for the lunch though.
It'll be April 2nd.
Picnic.
Was that it for Dave? Are we
peanut butter
good?
and jelly.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I
You wanna
appreciate
stick
it.
around too?
Hopefully you're on duty.
Not really.
Nope.
You need to stay.
Alright, so we are in the warrant itself now, correct? Library, thank you. Yeah, we're on the library.
That's easy. Steve was already here.
Good thing.
Move it along.
Alright, we are moving on to the library budget, Steve.
Yes.
Take it away, we really should be talking about 2 line items, correct?
Two, yes. 102 is the first one.
Okay,
We're taking that up to give 30 hours a week for them. It's an extra
okay,
hour and a half a week.
okay,
It's like, I don't have the previous thing, it was like a few $100s.
okay.
Okay. The other thing is, I put the post office box on here, because we're paying that out of our own library funds now.
Yep.
And I'm trying to maximize those for materials and books and what we have to do, so that's it.
What about the,
Did I do something else?
Yeah, there was it was going to be the maintenance account was going to see a reduction and there was gonna be an increase in books.
That's
Or
all,
books
that's
line
all,
items.
that's all in here too.
It is, okay, so what lines are those? I'm looking-
Okay.
Staring right at it here.
Maintenance is 227.
Alright, so the maintenance account, 227,
Yep,
okay,
so that's down almost $700.
okay, that makes sense.
And that $700 shows up in the books line.
Yep, okay, then that's the new
It's
line.
actually $693, I think.
That's one of the 4 new lines at the bottom.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good, that's what I was looking for, perfect.
Yep.
Does that make sense, to everybody?
It does. I just wanna point out that the total budget for the library is almost identical to the proposed cost of that loader.
That's a very good point.
So what are you saying, we should double this?
No, I'm saying that,
Yeah, it's cheap.
It's a
libraries are
shitload of
buying.
Can the library do the same thing?
They could, they don't want to.
Do you have a triple articulating boom, Steve?
Yeah, I went over there one day and he showed me the thing, he's like, you wanna play with it? I'm like, no, dude, I have no idea what's going on here, like, I'm happy.
Wait till you see the bill for hydraulic hoses on
Right.
I didn't know what to do with it, I'm like, oh, I'm
that.
good.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, it's got a whole pin and set of pistons extra that it
It's like
doesn't
a
need,
duck
I can
fight.
tell you that,
Yeah,
but.
I'll take that.
anyway.
So that,
Alright,
that's it.
Okay, so is this new number 176325 the accurate number then? We happy with that?
I believe it's accurate. I fixed the spreadsheet where the other lines were missing, so yes.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
Oh.
Oh, give it to Al.
Al gets the second.
Wow,
Hand it out second.
special tonight.
Any further discussion on this? It's pretty straightforward. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. The same exact cost as a new excavator.
Imagine that.
All right.
Move it more.
Do have a warrant article.
Oh,
Well, which number are we on?
30.
Oh, you got it in here?
You guys put all the stuff in the back here.
I know.
Hopefully we don't have anything big up front that
It's this one.
could cause a 10% issue.
Oh, true.
Oh, the sprinkler system,
What number is it?
30.
30?
Okay. Article 30, library sprinkler system, which transcends 2 pages, so bear with me. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate up to $7,000 to replace the sprinkler system heads and gauges within the Gay Kimball Library and to authorize the withdrawal of the same from the town buildings and repair expendable trust fund.
I move that we approve that as written.
Second.
Got a motion and a second,
Second.
okay? Any discussion?
Is that too specific, Steve? Do you wanna just say repair or replace? Cause like what if something besides the head or gauge needs to be fixed?
To service the system.
You know, something
Something
like
We were
that.
told,
Vendor
that
service.
we have 2 options. One is to spend, I think it was $1,500 and have 4 gauges, 4 heads tested. If they pass, we're good. If they don't pass, then we still have this bill.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
did
we
you,
have the
did you?
motion on the floor
Yeah,
for the,
okay.
the question is the grammar correct?
Are you pigeonholing yourself? If something happens that is outside of heads and gauges.
Right.
If a pipe needs to be replaced,
Right.
can you not take it out of the $7,000?
I see where you're going. That might not be a bad idea. Just for
Repair and
spring-
replace
for sprinkler system
the
work.
sprinkler system.
Yeah, the sprinkler
Yes.
system work.
Well, I don't think you wanna say repair and replace the sprinkler system heads as the sprinkler system as needed.
Yeah, sprinkler system components or whatever as needed.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. We'll
Can
do
you
that.
fix that, Jeremy?
Who's
Just
doing the work?
wordsmith it.
What's that?
Who's doing the work?
Hampshire Fire
Yeah.
Systems?
Right on 32,
Yeah, right next to it, yeah.
Yeah.
or by Powers, I think it is.
Yeah, it's not down out of that office though, it's out of.
Right, yeah.
Okay, any other discussion or thoughts on this? Are you gonna go against your own article?
You're
Go ahead.
not. It wouldn't surprise you.
up, Steve. Go against your own article, love it.
I'm gonna vote against it.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
That was an
I
aye.
breezed right through it.
Actually, I should've
No
voted.
chance.
Should have abstained.
All right, so is that good on the library?
The other thing we're looking at doing is taking the money for the camera system out of the expendable trust fund,
Okay,
which I believe the agents to expend are the selectmen and the trustees.
okay, so then that's between you guys, so.
Yep.
I appreciate the note, but.
Okay, just so you know where it went.
Yep.
And the other items, we decided that we were talking about for warrant articles, we decided to see if we could do something in the meantime that would cost a whole lot less money.
Okay, we appreciate that as well.
Yeah. We're nothing if not cheap.
Frugal.
Frugal, yeah.
Parsimonious.
All right, so are we on to the warrant itself then?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want, we can postpone the capital reserves for the selectmen's joint meeting, because the selectmen have
We'll
to
have
have
to
too.
go over this
What,
at
Here,
your
I see
selectmen.
it.
which is
It's up to you.
the
I'm
hearing.
confused, why would we, hang on a second.
Because we have-
We haven't discussed it, so you could talk to them at the joint meeting.
No, I wanna be ready for the public hearing, so whatever number, yeah, so,
Sorry.
hopefully Dick has some insight as to what they're thinking, so that we can settle on that tonight. All right, so let's start right off with, Article 7. And there's just a couple of comments that I wanna make. I'm assuming that after tonight's work and all the other work we've done along the way, where I think besides even that worked out tonight, we're pretty much in lockstep with the select board on the operating budget. Is that the understanding
That's our understanding.
so far? Okay.
Let's change something.
Small
Give us something to talk about.
small numbers that have changed in the process, everything else is.
Yeah, so do we have a grand total on, we don't have a grand total here tonight.
No, because we've changed some numbers around here tonight even.
Yep, exactly,
yeah.
so I think,
It's
Okay.
3,497,787,
okay,
our side is.
okay,
So what?
So 3,400,000,
497,787.
so we're $60-ish thousand less than the number on the top of the page.
Yes.
Yep,
Yep.
we've gone down, that's good. Well, PD went down,
so, yeah, so because we acted on each individual budget and there's no budgets that we wanna change on this article, I'm gonna leave the recommendations to be altered as, based on our votes throughout the, budget season. So I don't think we need to take action on Article 7, is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
That way we just don't confuse it with a whole nother vote on top of something else with the number that is probably right, but I hate to pigeonhole us into that. So you'll see the finished number on that, at the joint meeting prior to the budget hearing on the 11th. Okay? So, Article 8, which is right here. Excellent. This is sewer plant upgrade bond payment, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $82,956 for the annual bond payment for sewer plant upgrades completed in 2007. The payment is broken down in a principal amount of $75,098, an interest amount of 82, whoa,
That's definitely off.
that is not right.
So yeah, $7,008.
$178.
Sure that math lines up.
Well, I think if you subtract the 75,098 from the 82,956, you might get that.
I think that's what you got there.
Yeah.
It's just 82,956 transferred it to that spot. let's just make sure the written version is correct, $7,878.
Well, and, but I think what you wanna do is put that number in brackets and then say for a total expenditure of $82,956.
No, it starts out, the raise and appropriate is right.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, so the way you write them is raise and
Yeah,
appropriate,
okay.
and then you two funding sources, or however many funding sources need to add up.
Got it, okay.
Do we have?
I think the written version is correct, but just wanna make sure before we.
Do we need to have a funding source?
Yeah, it's called the taxpayer's wallet.
Okay.
Yeah, when it doesn't outline that, it's raised by taxation.
Okay. I won't
The
mention that
the
again.
term raised by taxation is used or not used, it doesn't need to be used.
I wanna compliment Jeremy on apparently having the same fonts, type, and size on all the articles.
That's good.
The
I
same
have no
spacing.
idea.
It's been a long time.
And then this is actually reimbursed by the water bill
For
payers.
$38,000 is.
That's it? I'm not paying all of
It
it?
used to be 19,000, so
Yeah.
we've moved up.
Yeah.
We've doubled it.
20,455. What's the number it used to be? Did we do an adjustment to that this year or no? No, unfortunately. Is that correct, guys? I'm just waiting for to confirm that the 7,878 is correct.
It's 7,858.
858 instead of 878. Okay. So the payment is to be broken down by principal amount of $75,098 and an interest amount of $7,858. I'll entertain a motion to support said article.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Not that we have any choice, it's a bond payment.
That's true.
Yeah.
I know, it's just painful.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Do we have a end date for this? 27? I think it's a 20-year bond.
Keep going.
Article 9, Water Systems Improvement Bond Payment. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,921 for the annual bond payment for water system improvements completed in 2010. The payment is broken down by principal amount of $31,058 and an interest amount of $4,863. That looks accurate. I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Everybody knows what this is for. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Sewer upgrade ends in 2027 and water upgrade ends in 2018.
So when was it 15? Is that what the year said on this? 2010, no, so that's a 19? That doesn't make any sense.
That's what I got.
Whatever.
Okay.
Right. Article 10, broadband bond payment. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $14,643 for the annual bond payment for the broadband project completed in 2021. The payment is broken down by principal amount of $10,000 and interest amount of $4,643.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so that's eight,
Okay.
There's a
It's
tricky
not- yeah,
spot.
I'm not losing my mind.
Say, that one should be really easy.
Yeah.
10,000 really makes it.
It should be.
But that doesn't
Did I get a
match.
motion on that?
So moved.
Motion and a second from Matt. So in the past, we've seen where this was actually, had a reimbursement line in here, but that's just a reimbursement. It doesn't really have to have that in there, right?
Right, it's a pass-through from,
Right, we pay it and then they pay it, and they pay us.
They pay us,
Okay,
yeah.
alright. Yeah, that shouldn't be in here. It should come from taxation and
Yep,
then
I got
get reimbursed. Okay, any other thoughts or questions on this?
Just because I'm back here in the corner.
Yep.
We're changing the number, right?
we're fixing the number,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, okay.
What are we fixing on this one?
The very last line doesn't match the written.
Yeah.
Oh, I've just been reading the numbers, so thanks for catching that. Yeah, I don't bother reading the, yeah. Alright, minus the Scrivener's
Wow.
error. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Now, I know we, for the budget, we don't wanna do cents, but for these, cause they're exact payments, like this one is a 50 cents in the end.
Hmm.
How do you wanna handle that?
Round up
Round
to
up,
the next
yes.
dollar.
Yeah, round up. So minus small tweaks, we have all those opposed. Abstentions. Motion carries. I had to keep track with how I was there. Alright. Article 11, we will come back to this. Article 12, we'll come back to this one. Article 13, cemetery operating budget. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $53,603 and authorize withdrawal of $51,981 for the care of cemeteries to come from the Cemetery Maintenance Expendable Trust and the Cemetery Perpetual Care Trust Funds. The balance of $1,625 to be raised from general taxation.
Well, which is it?
So these are last year's figures, I don't have your figures from Lucas's there.
Well, which is, wait,
We
wait,
approved the budget already. We already went through the budget for the cemetery. So that's the number that you should see in here.
then you've got a number, you've got a written number of $1,025 and the Arabic numerals of $1,625.
The 1625 is correct. The written is not correct.
So we need to fix the 1,000,
600.
make it 625.
Correct.
Again, these are last year's numbers, so they're gonna have to remember.
The 1625 will remain the same. That hasn't changed.
Right,
That's
So-
the trustees.
right, but you need to make the,
The operating budget, we should have it.
63,730 is what we approved.
63,730 minus the 1625 will be the first number. Will be the second number, excuse me.
62,105.
62,105. And the first number was?
63,730.
63,730. And the last number is 1625, so I'll read this again. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $63,730 and authorize withdrawal of $62,105 for the care of,
cemeteries.
this is not written correctly. So the way it should read, let me just, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $63,730 for the care of cemeteries and to authorize withdrawal of $62,105 from the Cemetery Maintenance Expendable Trust and the Cemetery Perpetual Care Trust Funds. The balance of $1,625 to be raised from general taxation. How'd I do?
Good.
Perfect.
Okay,
Sure.
I'll entertain a motion to that.
I'd make a motion to that effect.
Matt beat you to it. So we got a motion and a second. Any other thoughts or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Alright. This one here, do we not have new numbers for this one either?
Right.
This is the one you gotta get from the trustees.
Okay, I requested it, I don't have.
Yeah, the other one comes from our operating budget process that we've done. So this is to see if the town, what did they receive in? We don't know that. Alright, we're gonna table this. Let's just put this together, and assume, this is honestly, this is just funding those two accounts, so. We'll assume that the recommendations are there, that way the warrant looks correct when we get ready to present it for budget hearing. But we will act on it prior to budget hearings, so everybody has a chance to weigh in on the accurate figures, cause 2,100 is not the right number, so. Alright, so we're gonna table Article 14, Jeremy's gonna put together the right numbers. Article 15, roads and streets, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $44,808 for the purpose of purchasing materials towards future road rebuild projects. The funds are to be raised from Highway Block Grant 2025 estimated $44,808. all there is.
Yep.
I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, this is this year's number, I think we said that earlier, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we're happy with that. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Alright, motion carries. Article 16, transfer station bags, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,500 to purchase transfer station bags and to authorize the withdrawal of up to $9,500 from the transfer station recycling center special revenue fund to offset this expense. I would reword that, but I'll entertain a motion for that. Okay. You got a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Yeah, my only comment is, Jeremy, I would just reword that a little bit, so,
We're all saying.
so. Authorize the same from, yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? One abstention. Article 17, Computer Technology Expendable Trust Fund.
Don't need that.
No money.
No money, well, thank you. Ballot counting, no money. Ballot counting device, there is some money here. Article 19, ballot counting device, to see if the town will raise and appropriate $7,500 for a ballot counting device. The town will own the machine. The annual cost of the service is $500, regardless of how many elections are held per year, and $500 for each election it is used.
That
Oh.
doesn't make sense.
Whew, that's a doozy.
Well, it seems like to me, that reads like it's $500 for each election it's used, although it says $500 regardless of how many elections are held per year.
Well,
I think
$500
we're
per
gonna,
and $500
I thought it was only
flat.
$500 for the year to calibrate it once a year regardless of how many elections.
that's exactly what I.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I heard as well.
That is what she said. That's not what they told us during training. So.
Well, this is what,
But this is the accurate numbers now, right?
this
Yeah.
is, right.
Okay.
Is the, sorry, do you want a motion?
No, go ahead.
Is the annual amount in a budget anywhere? Because if we only approve the 7,500, we don't have a line item to pay the 500.
Well, we were thinking with this,
Then we wanna raise it and appropriate 8,500?
Well, actually, it's gonna pass a town meeting, you have no elections the rest of the year, so
Oh.
you would have to worry about it.
You don't have any elections and nothing happening in,
not after town meeting, no.
okay, okay. So that solves your problem. I would get the other 500
Next
right
year,
out
put
of
a
here.
line
Get the purchase of the machine in here, that's it. Put the operating expense of the machine in the operating budget for next year
Yeah,
for
I agree with that.
whatever
We
office
can
this
take that
belongs
far
in.
ahead, I don't think, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And that makes this article so much easier. So the new article would read, to see if the town will raise and appropriate $7,500 for a ballot counting device.
The town
That's
will,
it.
and then the town will own the machine. At
Period.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and all that, the next
Right,
sentence,
so I did with it on the machine.
Yeah, and this would show for the purchase of a ballot counting device.
There you go.
That's it.
You don't need the line, the town will own the machine.
No, you don't need any of that crap.
right,
So everything else after that, between what I just read and majority vote required, is gone.
right, after the word machine, period, and take that whole sentence out.
Yep, to see if the town will vote to, the town will vote, there's missing stuff in that, I know this one read terribly.
See if the town
Alright,
will raise appropriate $7,500 for a ballot counting device, the town will own the machine, period. Majority vote required.
No,
Nope.
take out the town will own the machine.
To
Yeah.
see if the town will
Okay.
raise and appropriate $7,500 for the purchase of a ballot counting device. Stop,
Yep.
For the purchase. Okay.
That works.
okay? Alright, can I get a motion on that?
We got there.
I'll make a motion.
I got a motion, I like the idea of this anyway. Took
Yeah.
a minute to get it done.
Second.
Second, motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
Here.
We got one abstention, motion carries.
One opposed.
We had an opposed? I'm sorry.
I had my hand
Alright.
up, so Jeremy.
One opposed, okay. Motion carries anyway. Thank you, Doug.
That's fine.
Alright, so
It is a
is
democracy.
the next one a vote for us? There's a bunch of money in it.
22.
Yeah, bunch of money.
No
appropriation.
There's no appropriation, okay, that's fine, alright.
Bunch of digits
I
though.
gotta read that one.
Alright, Article 21, same question. Is there any appropriation in this?
Nope, these are just exemptions and grants.
Okay,
We have voted on them in the past though.
I'm sure we have, Adam, I'm sure we have. Alright,
So the next question is, how do we want and this is probably part of the select question, but how do you wanna put the town clerk raise and or the cemetery and treasurer stipend increase? Separate, together?
I think you have them separate, I think
I
that
put the
that's
raise in
fine.
one and then I put the stipends together.
I think you have one person we're voting on a raise, which is different from the stipends.
This is good.
yeah, I'm relatively indifferent about it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and read Article 22, Town Clerk Tax Collector Compensation, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,040 for the purpose of providing the town clerk tax collector with a 3% increase on April 1, 2025. This amount includes any payroll related expenses. I like it. Okay, I'll entertain a motion on that.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? I'm saying I liked it just because it looks like it's written properly. I don't know an opinion about the raise or not, but. Alright, hearing no further conversation, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We got a hand, you gotta say nay.
Nay.
We've got 2 noes, abstentions? Hearing none? Motion carries. Okay. Article 23, cemetery trustees and treasurer stipend increase, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,928 to increase the cemetery trustees stipend from $1,625 to $2,150 per year, and to increase the treasurer stipend, should say from, $1,353. Oh no, it doesn't, okay. Stipend $1,353 from $5,047 to $6,400.
Is there a better way to write that?
Definitely.
No, it's a tough one to get through, but I think it's all there.
It's all there.
So the increase for the cemetery trustees, who requested that?
The cemetery trustees?
Did we go over that with them during their budget?
No, I think they brought that up after.
Did we?
I feel like we talked about it.
Yeah.
She's saying it's been a long time since they've
They
gotten.
did
Oh,
say
maybe
that.
they did.
Yeah.
And that amount is for 3 people.
What's that?
That amount is divided by 3.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, alright, let's think about this for a second. So, what is that per person?
29 divided by 3, whatever that number is, it's
It's $1,000 per person, let's just.
It's
round it up.
976 each.
Yeah.
976.
Well, and I think these including it's actually less than that because that budget, the number includes the social security. Is that correct?
Wait.
Otherwise, why'd you come up with a bastard number like that?
What's whatever they give us for that.
Yeah, I'm confused. Yeah.
966.
Is
I
there,
don't know what they're getting per year each.
Yeah.
on stipend stuff, is there a,
Yeah, you pay social security, you pay
Yeah.
his W-2 wages.
well, so,
Yeah.
but the town still matches that on the
Oh,
stipend
yeah.
stuff? Okay, alright.
So it's actually, it's 71666.
Huh.
That top number there includes the treasurer number, cause it's all one article.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So it's
So
7
it's
what?
2150 divided by 3.
So,
Oh,
this,
Ah,
so this is cemetery and treasurer, not
The top
cemetery
number is.
and the treasurer of
Tim.
the cemetery.
Yeah, they don't have a treasurer. Well, whoever on
Okay,
your trustees.
alright, that's what I thought, but it's,
that's a weird number.
I'm not sure why it's combined, but that's okay.
Well, because they're both stipends.
Yeah, no, that,
Alright,
that makes sense to me. It's just a little tough to get through, that's all.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay,
So just to to make it easier to read, like going that down, like just looking where it says Article 24, where they have it broken down, like would it be easier to do like treasurer, cemetery, and then what they are, what we're proposing, so we can kind of see it a little easier too? Because I feel like
You
it's
mean
a,
to like
it's a
separate within the
mouthful.
same article?
Well, yeah, like basically, like we break it down, kind of like how they did like Meals on Wheels. This was last year. This is what they're wanting, or whatever. Like, just to make it easier because it's a mouthful.
Or make it 2 paragraphs.
Or put
Oh,
a period on it someplace.
it's just it's a
It's like a
mouthful.
word salad.
I was just thinking a way to make it easier to read.
I think if we can support the article as submitted, subject to Scrivener's changes
Yes.
to be reviewed.
Subject to wordsmithing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The dollar amount isn't gonna change, so
No.
No.
any way it's written is gonna be,
Right.
So I'll say on the treasurer line, the increase is correct, but the from and to need to be adjusted.
Right.
Okay.
So I move that we approve Article 23, subject to wordsmithing.
Second.
we got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
2 abstentions. Motion carries. Phew! Alright, so Article 24, has this changed at all since we went through this thing
Oh,
We
on the
didn't
budget
change it.
itself?
doesn't look like it.
We got a request for the one that was added at town meeting last year. And the board
It
decided-
didn't make it on here.
We got it after we talked about it.
Yep, but it's
We-
not, it didn't get added to
It
here.
didn't get added because the request, when it finally came out
Very late.
well after our shut-off date, so we.
I got it like 2 weeks ago.
Understood. So, this is the accurate number that we decided on
Right.
during the budget season. So there's no reason to act on this, we've already done so.
Okay.
So that is supported, or recommended by the,
Question.
budget committee, yep.
What happens, Dick? What happens at town meeting if someone stands up and makes a motion to add $2,500 for another organization?
That's the will, then you're in the will of the body, the legislative body can do whatever the hell they want, it's germane.
All right,
I mean, I think then we have to have a discussion
This is correct.
as a legislative body whether we wanna accept that.
all right. Last year, nobody said anything, including you and including me.
Right,
So I got kind of caught by surprise by that.
well, we all did.
Is there an RSA about that? Like
No.
adding something last minute?
No, the legislative body can do pretty much everything short of declare war on China.
Well,
Okay.
there is one other issue though, which I don't think that organization may meet. In order to make a donation to any of these organizations, that organization must provide a service that, in their absence, the town would be required to provide.
And if they provided the backup, like all of these other entities, which did they actually send that, Jeremy? They just sent a letter saying, give us $1,000.
Well, but we've discussed these over the years, it's
Yeah.
the same organizations. And if an organization provides, let's just give you an example here, what's the one on, the
Meals on
community
Wheels.
volunteer
Sure,
transportation?
yep.
Is the town required to provide transportation for somebody? Well, if a person is a welfare recipient and has a medical exam, we would have to.
Right,
Now, that organization provides services beyond that, but
right,
the fact that they do provide a service,
correct,
that justifies us giving them that money.
correct.
If somebody stands up at town meeting and says, I move that we give $2,500 to the XYZ organization,
Right.
even if it passes, unless that organization can show us that they are providing a service that would be required to provide otherwise, we can't legally
Well, and it
issue that
depends
check.
upon how, so let's just take it. I completely agree, so I go to the Y every day, or used to. And I say that, well, we should make, and which is a charitable organization.
Yep.
And I could get up and say, well, let's give $1,000 to the Keene YMCA. Because they provide a service that is not readily available in Troy,
Mhm.
which would be daycare. and then you can, depends upon how far out in the weeds you wanna get with this, but like, if you were making the case for this, you could probably find something in some of these organizations.
Yep.
I think the simple case for us, for the purposes of the coming town meeting and this warrant, is to say, we've picked who we wanna recommend, it's no, and if somebody wants to make that case somehow, they can put it in front of the legislative body, and they're gonna have to back it up with what your point is, what is it you're doing that somebody might not be otherwise doing for the town, that the town would otherwise have to do.
Right.
Yep,
And-
I think you're both absolutely correct.
And I think that came up at the last.
Yeah, I brought it up, I don't know if it was the last meeting or the one
It's
before.
come
but-
up, it comes up every time we,
Definitely the last one.
every time that we go through these, it comes to what are we doing? Can we legally really give this money to these different organizations, so.
And I think if you can find a sliver that shows that it's something
Right.
that they do, even if it's 1% of what they do,
Right,
that we would otherwise have to provide,
then you can do whatever you
then
want.
I think that gives
This
you
came
a
up
foot
at the
in door.
2015 town meeting, you were the moderator,
Yeah,
and it had to do with the Senior Citizens Club.
yes, I recall that,
You used to get a $500 check from the town,
always do,
we stopped doing it because there was no way we could justify it
correct,
under the New Hampshire Constitution.
right. Well, and we also, the same thing happened with the Little League, I think, there was at one point, we used to give money to the Gap Mountain League, and we don't, that's not something, you don't have to have a softball league.
Yeah, but that organization that was brought up last year, I don't really know anything about them.
Well,
I suspect that they do good work, but I also suspect that they don't provide a service that we would be required to provide.
I would, I wouldn't wanna offer an opinion on that without really looking into it, because I have been on the receiving end of rent checks from them. So,
There's some housing involved.
there is some housing involved, so it
Yeah.
would be an offset to welfare, I think you could make that case out.
Okay, and maybe they can, but they didn't.
They didn't,
So the answer to Tara's question on what can be done about this warrant article at town meeting, as long as they don't change the purpose of the warrant article, which the purpose is obviously charitable giving for
right,
institutions that provide a service that we would otherwise have to provide, the sky's the limit. They can do whatever they want here, the town meeting can do whatever they want. I don't think they can buy a police cruiser under this article.
No.
That would be the instance where it would be like, well, we can't do that, it's not even legal.
but
So,
they could give $1 million to the community kitchen.
yeah, and if anybody did that, the way to respond to that is point of order at town meeting and call out the inaccuracy.
Right.
Alright, so moving on to Article 25. This is not for us? Alright, moving on to Article 26.
That's for you.
Town hall screens. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $4,200 for the purpose of installing cameras and microphones in the town hall meeting room, the Gay Kimball Library meeting room, and the water sewer building at Dort Street to live stream public meetings of the town's boards, committees, and commissions. This will cover the annual subscription and the installation of cameras and microphones at said locations. I would say the first annual subscription, because after that, you're gonna be paying for it out of an operating budget. Other than that, looks good to me.
Was there talk about also doing it at the, Sam Paul Center though? Because.
We just don't use it enough, so
Oh.
just, our idea was just to use the iPad for what we do.
Oh.
Otherwise, you're paying that extra $50.
Same thing for the school for town meeting.
So so is this just a question on the logistics on this, so is this service a bit mobile in those situations, the one-off meetings that we have, so there's nothing we can do
That would
to,
have to, we could probably upload it to the same page.
okay, but you would go back
This
to
company
your.
literally comes in and installs a camera that is supposed to be.
You're gonna
flip on,
switch
flip
on.
off. When I first heard
They're
of
never like that, but
When I
that's
first heard it, I
okay.
said, it's too good to be true, it's too cheap. And then when I saw the list of towns that actually use it and love it, I'm like,
So our option for like budget committee hearing, for instance, that's gonna be YouTube, what we're doing now. So in those few meetings a year, it'll be what we're doing now, and we'll just be able to
Yeah.
upload that however.
I just don't see the difference. It's extra money.
Have the library trustees okayed this?
No.
Sure they'd be okay, but yeah, we do want their final blessing. Actually, water and sewer hasn't really.
Yeah, I don't see the water and sewer having any issue with it.
I just wonder who's in control of the switch,
What's that?
who has
Yeah.
access to turn on and off
You guys.
Yeah, just you.
I'm just
And
asking.
actually, anybody could come in
Who's
the
ever
middle of the
running
day
your
and town
meeting?
hall.
It's a physical switch in the building, not like
Yeah,
an
it's a
app.
physical, right.
So
Just
they'll
saying.
come in and.
I'm just saying, like, people are in non-public meetings, and
Turn
if
it
somebody
on.
that's
Just-
not in a non-public
You're just
meeting
gonna have to walk outside.
which is why-
has an admin password for another committee they're
Put a
on,
box on
can
it.
they turn on the meeting, is what I'm
Yeah.
Put a
asking.
box on it.
Which is why they.
Our understanding was it's a physical switch.
They come in and install a camera and they wire the ceilings and the walls or whatever is
Just-
needed.
Just for your information on the security camera system for the library was not going to be in this room. Not have a camera in there,
Why?
just for what he said.
For someone who
Yeah,
like
someone
doesn't
can't
use
just,
it,
Dial in.
Yeah.
When the meeting's going.
Well, not that, but just so you're not,
Oh,
non-public
okay.
meetings.
Oh, yeah, cause there's, people come in and use this for meetings anyways, and it's not,
There's gotta be some level of user access and control in the system, yes?
I know you go in and you preset it up, like a month ahead of time, to say, on X amount of day, we're gonna have a meeting.
I mean, we're all
That
envisioning
pre-fills
like
it
a
all
light
out.
switch to turn this
Right.
thing on, that cannot
So
be what it is.
you're not gonna, if you sit here and talk about something, you're not gonna start getting ads on the computer at home
I hope not.
about it?
just hit the big red button, it'll start
It's
and stop.
literally-
We'll all be getting ads from excavators.
Jerry, I just wanna bring
What
up,
other towns use that?
on
Oh,
the,
it's a whole bunch.
Does
Ringe,
Winchester,
Winchester.
I'm gonna get on their website.
At first, I didn't,
Check
I
it
thought
out.
it was too good to be true, and then I looked in, then I heard more and more people say that, you know, it's awesome, it's fun. And that way, somebody doesn't have to lug this around, and if staff's not here or whatever, it's pretty easy.
Can we call somebody at the Winchester Selectman's office and just ask them about it?
Yeah.
I think this is gonna come up at town meeting and we're gonna.
Yeah, better to be
You're gonna wanna
prepared
have
for it.
answers to all
Yeah.
that.
And how about
Yeah.
availability of those things if we cancel the contract? That was another question.
yeah, and if you do cancel or not use them anymore, we have to make sure it's in the contract, like
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, that we own those videos, cause otherwise they do.
But we had
Because
that
they hold them.
conversation, I thought we had.
There's a town suing them right now for it.
Yeah, there's a town suing them, yeah, yeah, cause they stopped using the service, the same one that he's using
They
up in
didn't
Maine.
download their data before they left, apparently.
Yeah,
You can, we have the right to do that.
and
Well,
it's not in the
that-
contract.
You
As
know,
long as you can download it, then it's on us.
You know,
if
we
don't.
had this problem with our bookkeeping system, BMSI.
Oh, yeah,
So we didn't have, when we didn't renew BMSI,
You lost all access.
all that data, and then 3 years later, when we went back to BMSI,
there's all the data.
there's all that data.
Yeah, it's like ransomware.
Except it sounds cool.
Yeah.
Ransomware.
Alright.
Um,
If I have my
We
truck,
don't, we don't necessarily do this room, the library trustees are opposed to it, it just.
I can't speak for the trustees, we'd have to bring it up at a meeting.
Yeah, cause we'd like, still use this guy right here for anything mobile, right?
Yeah, and if you want the, if you want the support of, you know, somebody like that, I think probably the Water Sewer Commission's got the same questions, is like, okay, we just.
how do you turn it on and off?
Just level of control, how does this thing work, send the documentation out, I'm sure you'll get plenty of support if it works good.
Yeah, cause in both cases, there's other things going on there besides meetings.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly, you have that, and there's a, I think there's, state laws is on audio for sure, there's a presumption
Two-party.
of privacy, yeah, that's a two-party consent in that situation, so.
Yeah, New Hampshire.
So on video, I don't know if that's the case, but audio is definitely two-party consent, so.
Is that, if you post it, does that
No, it's,
absolve you from it? It just means you can't record it unless everybody signs off on it that's in the room.
Yeah, but if.
You don't need to
if
sign
they're-
off on it, you need to be aware of
you
it.
need to be noticed that this is a public meeting and it's
So-
being recorded, just like when you call into an office, they say,
Right,
this phone call is being recorded for training and
hang up
other.
now if you don't like it.
Yeah,
Right,
quality
yeah.
purposes.
Yeah.
So if you go into town hall now, it tells you that you're being recorded and.
That's what I was
In
getting
a
at.
public
That's,
meeting,
that's no,
in a public meeting, there is no expectation of privacy.
Right, exactly,
Right,
that's
that's why it's
the
called a
standard.
public meeting.
Right, that's the standard, is the expectation of privacy, that's where you start, and then from there it's whatever, but, okay,
We wanna-
actually in a public meeting,
we wanna
there's
postpone that one?
negative
We hear from the other-
expectation of privacy.
In a rational.
No, I think the budget committee can
In a rational.
decide whether or not they
Consensus-wise.
support it. And then if you get
I
budget
mean, anybody
feedback
can
that
walk
it
in
isn't
and
gonna work out,
sit the
then,
meeting.
well, the select board should be pulling it, so.
I'll make a
Oh.
motion.
We got the motion?
I'll second.
Second, who seconded? Deb?
Beat
Any more discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. This next one's highlighted.
You're special.
I'll read it off and then we can discuss why it's highlighted. Article 27, Water and Sewer Department Vehicle, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to enter into a long-term lease purchase agreement in an amount up to $65,000 payable over a term of 60 monthly payments or 5 annual payments for the purchase of purchasing a work truck and all necessary equipment for the operational needs of the Water and Sewer Department. Payments to be made from the Water and Sewer project accounts and/or Water Sewer Expendable Trust Fund. Majority vote required.
Why is it highlighted?
Well, let's start there. Why is it highlighted? I didn't highlight it.
Well, it's still under debate on how it's gonna exactly be funded, I guess.
Okay.
I thought I thought that had all been worked out.
Do we have to wait for?
I don't know, I thought the attorney was looking at it. That's
You
the
looked
last
at
I
it and said
heard.
it's not a problem.
Oh, maybe that's why it's
That's what
highlighted?
we worked for,
Well,
right?
the attorney's opinion really is that he thinks you can do it either way that you've listed without even putting it on the warrant.
But maybe we should get approval anyways.
No,
You already have the
no,
fund.
he's wrong. It's terrible. I gotta say, he's wrong. You can't, you have to, for long-term, regardless of the funding source, for you to enter into a long-term lease or purchase, you have to have a warrant article for that.
Well, he
Yeah.
disagrees, and he cites the RSA's on that.
He does.
So the LED I
Hang on
found,
just a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
so for the LED, which you'll see in a minute, there is an RSA that strictly speaks to equipment. So I guess that's where that one falls under, but I personally don't know what the cutoff between a lease and what, it's not a bond, it's not a note, but it is a long-term agreement, so.
Okay. Tara?
I guess I just wanna know, like, confirm, who would be the ones who would own the truck? The town of Troy or Water and Sewer? Like, who would be the ones
Well, it's-
signing for it, I guess, I get.
So this fell apart last year because there was a disagreement over who was gonna sign for the note.
Oh, okay.
And while I don't believe that it needed to fall apart last year, that's what happened.
Yeah.
I personally think that there are not two competing teams. So the Water and Sewer Department has its own money to pay for this. So if it needs the chairman of the select board to sign off on the note, because that's who signs for things for the town, or the lease, I don't know why that's a problem. By the same token, the chairman of the Water and Sewer Commissioners could do it as well.
So that's in the I don't have the RSA's in front of me, so entering into a long-term lease purchase or any sort of note or bond is the responsibility of the governing body, which is the select board. So that's the part that the select board has to be involved in. The payments for the truck are going to be coming out of the, so this is a,
Operating account.
yeah, this is the operating account for the Water Sewer Commission, but it's an enterprise fund. It's a little bit different than the way like the town's general fund works. So any money that's raised over the course of the year will just go into this. And it'll be helped to pay the operating budget, and then at the end of the year, any money that's left over gets distributed out into these other two accounts, the water project account and the sewer project account. We do have this expendable trust fund now, the water project account, the sewer project account, and the operating account for the water sewer department is under the purview and the oversight of the water sewer commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the long story short, answer to your question is the water sewer commission would own the vehicle to the extent where it has to do with anything financial.
Okay.
It's the water, all of that stuff is owned by the town, like all
Right,
this
it's
stuff is
still
owned
gonna
by the
say
town.
Town of Troy on the registration,
Right, and it's,
Yeah.
but it's
but it's
when it
coming
gets
out of
ready to,
your,
when we get ready to sell it,
It's
and we
the
wanted to
water
make
sewer.
some money on it,
Yeah, it's the water
or,
sewer.
or recoup some money from selling it, that would go into the water sewer account. So all of the financial portion of this would be the responsibility of the water sewer department. Taking care of the truck would be the responsibility of the water sewer department. The town is basically the cosigner, right? The select board is, that's how I would look at it.
I think cosigner is a good analogy because in the whatever scenario you would create where somehow the Troy Water and Sewer Department became defunct and insolvent, in a genuine sense, the taxpayers of the town of Troy through the selectman's office would have to cover any shortfall.
Would have to pay the note.
Other than that, and how does that happen? The number of bad things that have to happen for us to get
I was
from
gonna
here to
say,
there.
Yeah.
Right.
DRA's gonna tell us if we need it on there or not, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and if they say no, that's what, we toyed around with that when we first looked at this last
Right.
year. Was like, okay, we can just handle this without
Right.
going to, and everything that I looked at, and maybe I'm wrong, I've certainly been that way before, but everything I looked at indicated that the notes and bonds needed to go on, so.
Well, I move that we approve the article as written, and if the DRA says we don't need it, yeehaw.
Right, we can just handle it ourselves.
You
Agreed.
can leave the yeehaw out of the motion.
I need a second yeehaw.
Second.
I'll beat you to it.
And we're gonna do just the payments out of your project accounts, just ask the rest.
Nope,
Just
we're gonna-
say out of water sewer funds. Cause like, what if we decide to put a line item in the operating budget?
Well, if you do the expendable trust, you're purchasing outright, you don't need the article, that's the point.
No,
It's a lot
it's
of
gonna be, these are for payments only, so this is,
Just
I think the way it's written is correct.
Next one's the
Um,
wrong one too.
or simplify it down to just paid from water sewer funds, or whatever, that would be the only simplified.
But this is just authorizing the contract to do this,
Correct.
basically.
Right,
Right? That's all
Whatever
you're
they
saying.
figure out they wanna do, whatever cookie jar they're gonna take the money out of is up to them.
yeah, normally you would
It's not
need
raised-
this,
This is just letting them enter the agreement.
yeah, if we were buying it outright, there's money enough in the expendable trust, and there's agents to expend already on it, it wouldn't even need to go on here.
Right.
The select board and the water sewer commission could get together and just buy the truck.
Right.
But because we're entering into a lease purchase.
Yep.
That's the idea.
This is authorizing the lease purchase.
Exactly, yep.
Okay.
That's my understanding. I would love to see, Topic's opinion on that, so that I could put that to bed for sure, cause if I'm wrong, that's fine, that'd be good.
That's the
Make it a
one
lot
we got
easier.
this afternoon, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, well, I got it Friday, but yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. One other point of note on that, the truck that this is replacing is going to be sold, we put a bunch of money into it, so hopefully we get a few bucks for that, and the proceeds of that fund of that sale will go into the funds. It'll go into the water and sewer project accounts, so.
I've seen the truck, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Hey, come
You're not
on,
gonna be bidding on it?
come on.
It's not gonna be-
$300 is $300, right?
Yeah.
That's
Some
true.
young kid would buy it.
It's a 20,
Yeah,
it's a,
that's
what
what it'd be.
year is it? 2016, it's a 2016,
40,000 miles or something.
right, with low mileage, diesel engine, and it's just got a little, it's got
Character.
It's got some scab.
Character.
It's got character now.
If it was an Earl Scheib handy, it'd be great.
Somebody else.
It's a work truck.
Off
Alright,
topic,
so
was that the white or
Article
the brown?
28, let's go.
Yeah.
Fire hydrants, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $35,000 for the purpose of replacing 5 fire hydrants within the water district.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second.
$7,000
Yeah,
What they
that's
cost.
how much things cost, buddy.
water hydrant?
Hydrants are expensive.
They are.
Good lord.
Well, it includes the hydrants, it
And all
includes
the
any
piping.
piping that goes to it, there's a
The shut off.
shut off
The
that's
shut-off's
very
down
expensive, yeah.
That many of our
They're not what they look
existing
like.
fire hydrants do not have.
And by code, they're supposed to have a gate valve within so many feet.
That was because our fire hydrants were put in before they invented those.
Yeah, cause there's like, there's this block that goes
It's
behind
not
it, so in case the,
So no idea it was that
Valve was down
complicated,
below.
did you?
You know?
I wanted to replace one per
Okay.
month.
Yeah.
Alright,
Because
move
it costs
on.
$1,000.
Ben,
I had that all
Does anybody
explained to
have
me when
any-
somebody knocked the hydrant over in front of my house.
So moved.
No,
Second.
Bye.
I think we already got an motion on the table, do we have any other thoughts?
I have a question,
Yep, Al's up, everybody else quiet.
don't start with me.
No, it's your turn.
So who's replacing the hydrants?
The town's gonna be doing, the department's gonna be doing
Well,
it.
that was my question, cause if that's contracted work, that's awful cheap. to
Oh, yeah,
replace
no,
it.
that's all us.
Okay.
This is all parts and pieces, that's what
Alright.
all that pays for.
So the new excavator can help dig it.
In the funniest of angles.
All by itself.
Oh, you said no to it.
You just let it drive
I'll
up.
even run it, how's that?
They got the robotic option.
You can do it from home.
Alright, any other serious comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Alright, Article 29, Fire Department Garage Bay Doors. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $22,000 for the purchase of 3 new garage doors at the Troy Fire Department and to authorize withdrawal of the same from the Town Buildings Maintenance Expendable Trust Fund. Majority vote required. Do we have enough in that fund to do this and the other project we had?
It's 61,100.
Okay, cause we had another one that we were taking this
So
out of.
Superminder 30 and we're putting in 25 or something.
Maybe.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. This actually looks pretty good to me. I was expecting it to be way more than this, for the
Me
side
too.
doors and all that. They're insulated, I saw the quote on it, so,
It's cheap.
yeah, I thought that was pretty good. So it's Keen Door doing it, so,
They are.
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, that's what I said,
That's
yeah,
really
that's good.
cheap for them.
Yeah.
Alright, we got a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Alright,
31?
we're on the library sprinkler system, we did that already. Article 31, LED street light conversion lease.
I like Strider.
To see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to enter into a 6-year lease agreement per RSA 33-7E in the amount of $59,934.44, 59935, for the purpose of leasing LED streetlights, and to raise and appropriate the sum of $8,356 for the first year's payments for that purpose. This lease agreement contains an escape clause. Yep, that should be in there.
Alright,
It's
good.
written properly.
And this is all gonna come out of the operating budget.
And I think, what was the payback? The payback on this was, wasn't the payback some stupid short period of time?
Well, we're cut the operating costs in half,
Yeah.
hence why you can pay both operating and lease in the same year.
Right.
And
This is the
then you
fifth.
pay it off in 6 years and then the operating will be probably more than half by then, but still.
Right.
So I think, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just like, this is the $15,000 street lights that we normally pay,
Yeah.
So
so
what's gonna happen
we'll
is,
pay both for the new light bulbs that should all work,
Correct.
plus
So they're gonna come in and do all of them.
whatever.
it's gonna cut our monthly
Yeah.
bill in half. And then out of the
And then,
15,000 we already budget, we can pay for the operation and the lease in one.
and then in so many years,
6
it'll
years
be paid
will be
off,
done.
and it'll be 8,000,
Right.
hopefully
Electricity
there
will
won't
probably
be
go through
some
the
no
roof.
crazy thing that comes up, alright, I'm in favor.
But, there is, it's not written in here, so that's fine, but what should happen is the operating budget should be reduced to match what your actual charges are, right? And then there should be a warrant article that pays this payment, this lease payment on an annual basis.
Like after this,
Yeah,
once they approve it.
Well, if
yeah,
we did
'cause
that right.
this is a capital expense. So just like we would with bonds or any other notes, you would have the payments for that, like the cruisers, we do that when we had them in the past.
Yeah.
We would have the payments every single year showing up in a warrant article,
Well, I
just
think-
like we do for all the bond payments.
I think you would do that next year because
Yes, yep,
you wouldn't do it
nope.
this year
I
if
think
we
this
have no
is a-
streetlights.
I think this is right, but what Jeremy
Right.
said was this was gonna come out of operating budget next year. Well, that technically is true because your operating budget will be reduced by
Right.
probably more than this number. It
Yes,
still has to show up in here as a payment.
payment, right.
Yep. Okay, so we got a motion and did we do that already?
No, I'll make a
Okay.
motion.
Alright, we got a
Okay.
motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Tell me where we're going.
Article 30,
Jack?
We're not talking about police radios again.
35.
We did 33 and 34.
11 and 12.
Oh,
we did.
we did 35.
And 36.
Oh, wow, okay.
Moving on.
We have we have 38.
Oh, $1.
Yep.
Yeah, so 38 I came up with today. So this is through the community power that we signed up for,
Okay.
depending on how, when
Right, which rate?
independent residents, depending on which rate they choose, there's one rate that has a little bit of extra money that comes to the town.
Correct.
And this would be to create a capital reserve fund for those funds to go into to spend on energy projects.
Are we receiving those funds now?
There's
Not
like 2,300 in there, it's not a lot, but
Right.
we, at any time, we can tell them, hey, we got a project to spend, want the money.
Right.
Or are you just gonna suck it off every year?
We would, if we establish the fund,
That you would?
then the money would go, presumably be paid in on a regular basis.
Uh-huh.
And we can evaluate what energy projects we wanna do with it at that point. Whether we use it to subsidize the lease payments on the LED, streetlights, or to put in a new streetlight, or
Yeah,
whatever.
Solar.
that's cool.
But it seems
So
like
how is this gonna be funded? Say that again?
if you look at your electric, whatever you're doing for your electric, we have you had to opt out of the community solar.
What I had, interestingly enough, I remember somebody's telling me that, and when the paperwork came in to me, I had to opt in because
Yeah.
of, I was with somebody already
with-
that.
Oh, because
If
you were with
weren't
somebody else,
Eversource,
right.
you had
Okay.
to opt in.
Right,
Yeah.
if you weren't,
Okay.
right. So if you were, whatever way you got into it, if you got into it,
Mhm.
the rate, the very bottom rate is, I wanna say 10 cents, well, it's
That was 8 cents or something.
eight,
The
one
other
is
was
8
it was
cents.
8, the other was
There's an
8.5.
extra penny or two if you go to the second highest rate, that spread comes to the town of Troy.
Okay,
And it goes into this account.
okay,
Which was the default.
Correct. The
Yes.
default wasn't the lowest rate, it was the second lowest rate, which is the one where the town
What's the
gets the
average
extra
color?
penny.
So right now, we have 2,300 in there, cause we just started.
so why
The
wouldn't
goal
you,
is to have that money come in over here.
so why wouldn't you establish a revolving fund then, to allow the monies to just be deposited into it, on a regular basis? And the revolving fund, just like the transfer station, the agents to expend can be town meeting still. Like you can set that up so that it's for doing these capital purchases can be done. Cause otherwise you have to create a warrant article each year to deposit into this, so those funds that you've been generating over the course of the year.
Well, in this scenario, we had the Board of Selectmen as the agents to expend. And the thinking
Well,
was,
and that's fine too, but I'm just saying
You make a point
the
about
part of it being a revolving fund, you can set your agents to expend however you want, but the part of it being a revolving fund puts the money into it
right,
regularly instead of having to wait to town meeting to fund it, cause that's how a capital reserve
Right.
fund is
yeah,
established, is funded.
and that makes more sense that way.
Right,
Yeah.
definitely. Sorry, I gotta.
No.
whatever.
So,
Appreciate that.
We just gave you another check.
I'm gonna,
You're welcome. Hey, you're getting a raise, well, maybe, I don't know, I'm gonna vote against it.
so I would move that we approve this article subject to it being reworded into a revolving fund.
Or we just revisit it at the hearing, instead of making a motion.
Well, we got a motion, so.
Okay.
Yep.
But we don't have a
If we
second.
don't get a second,
I'll
that's
second.
fine. We got a second from
I
Steve.
that
There you
makes
go,
sense
Steve.
to me. It makes sense to me to do it that way though.
Yeah.
We still gotta revisit it.
So the
We're gonna
comment
revisit
is,
the thing.
yeah, the comment is to table, is that what you're looking to do, Steve? Is to
No.
table this? Okay,
Go ahead.
okay. Any other comments or thoughts on this? Everybody understand the motion, that this is essentially establishing what we're talking about here, except it's going to be a revolving fund instead of a capital reserve fund. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed?
No.
Doesn't wanna do the math on it.
Wait,
Abstentions?
can we go back to that other warrant article with his raise in it?
All right, motion carries. The next one is not us, right?
No,
39.
article.
We're
Is that
done.
it?
Done.
We're done.
Very nice, very nice. Alright, let me, do we wanna even do this tonight, Jeremy?
No.
Doesn't matter what it is, Alan, no.
The selectmen haven't really talked about either, so I mean, it might make sense to have it.
I don't even know what you're gonna say.
It's the progress of the CIP program and
The funding of the capital.
the funding of the capital reserve account, so,
It makes sense to have that.
Can I just ask if, we have 3 for budget committee this year? Cause it's on there and it's time to sign up, so.
Yep.
Okay,
yep, that's a good call, so, so the ones that we have to deal with at, the joint meeting is specifically the 2 articles for expendable trust funds and capital reserve funds.
okay.
And we might see some changes in those based on the CIP discussion that the select board has between now and then.
We're not meeting for those.
Oh, okay, so
You guys will be having that discussion, you're joking.
I don't like that. What are you gonna put in the article? I think it's too late. I think the articles should stay the same and we should talk about it at the meeting, and if we wanna change it
What
after the
article are
meeting.
we talking about?
The capital reserve fund article and the expendable trust article might see some increases based on some of the CIP work that starts taking place. But it hasn't been discussed by the select board nor the budget committee,
Right.
and it's 9:30 at night.
I
So,
think I agree with you. I think leave the article as it is, bring the information. If we wanna make a field change, we'll make a field change.
okay, and we can do it in the meeting after the public hearing.
Yep.
Talk about it at the public hearing, and then we can do it after the fact.
Probably should have done it
Long time ago.
a long time ago, yeah.
And it's been years since this has been established, so if it begins next year, that's okay too.
Oh, it's
I
not
appreciate the
Nobody
effort
spends
that's
a lot
gone
of-
into
Like a
Yeah,
woman.
really. Wouldn't
it. Alan's got one last thing.
Al, Matt, your terms expire this month, or this year rather. If you intend to, run for reelection, get to the town clerk's office this week during normal business hours or on Friday afternoon between 3 and 5 p.m. and sign the paper.
Well, the town clerk's office is now open on Fridays.
In the mornings.
Yes.
But this Friday should be open
The
additionally
afternoon.
Friday afternoon.
Right.
Just
Yep.
for that, just pay your taxes.
Okay.
Hey, those-
Was there anything else on the agenda? There was, but we're not. Public comment? Alright, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Somebody did it. Second? Somebody got a second?
Yeah.
Alright, we got lots of firsts and seconds.
I did
All those
talk
in
to Rich
favor?
about the cameras.
Aye.
Nine
I
twenty-four
like what I
PM.
saw and I like the
Thank
prices,
you all very
so
much.
I'm gonna try to.
And the next
Lots of
meeting
good
is.
work.
The problem is
Oh,
we
yeah.
need wire.
It's
So
town,
I can find-
is it the
yeah.
hearing?
Oh,
If I can
Ben.
find
Ben.
someone to do the
You're gonna be
wiring,
appointed.
Yeah.
The-
Ben.
probably
Meeting,
cut the
Ben.
cost in
What's
half.
Next meeting.
February 11th.
Okay.
5 PM.
5
At-
5
At the
PM.
community center.
At
Yep.
community center.
Five
Yep.
ballots.
I won't be there till
Is
5.
that the Islam
I get off work at
or
5.
is that
Okay.
something?
February 11th.
That's you.
February 11th, 5 PM. You're gonna notify everybody in the world.
Who do I talk to?
February
Like Rich,
11th, yeah, I
or-
get it.
No, you
Alright.
ask Richard, Richard can, Jeremy knows.
Okay.
Just have Richie give you the electricians, you got 2 electricians.
Oh,
That's what you
Okay.
need.
Yep.
He can give you both your names.
Actually, only need a low voltage guy.
I'm sure that involves electrician.
Alright.
He's
You guys all set?
No, he
They both have.
he has been running a fever, but didn't have any other symptoms at all.